I'm sure you have good reasons to bust out of here, but I need to get out of here too.
Yeah? Not my problem.
It's E3, John.
Yes, it is.
E3 2017. It's the one time every year when everybody gets their heart broken, everything is a pile of garbage, and everybody won everything and was better than everybody else.
Everyone won E3 and everyone lost E3.
Yep.
Certain companies trashed other companies, while at the same time those same companies got trashed by the other company that they trashed.
Damn right.
That's all that happens. And the most important thing is neither you or I were actually there.
Actually, the most important thing is I'm just going to declare right now to the audience of Rage Select, just so that you guys all know, I won E3.
Jeff won E3.
I won E3 this year, all right?
Was it something we're going to talk about in a later podcast?
No, I just won it.
Oh, okay.
Bitch.
Jeff won E3.
Yeah. I announced every game, Half-Life 3 confirmed. Jeff said it. It's good to go. That's it. Oh no!
E3 Half-Life 3 confirmed.
As an old hat veteran at E3 by this point, I think it's funny to see. Like we're gonna get in today's podcast is going to be all about EA and Microsoft, but
yes, it is.
I just as a side note, like there were people that when the Bethesda was, they were like, oh man, what if they announced Fallout New Vegas 2? And I was just like, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It was kind of like me sitting there like, oh man, what is From Software going to announce at Sony? And it's like, spoiler alert for the podcast number 3, nothing,
absolutely nothing,
no Bloodborne 2, no Kingsfield 6, no Armored Core 65, none of those things. So yeah, but I think that there is it's entirely possible that let's not tangentialize too much because we got a lot to go over.
We do.
There's a million things. EA. Okay, I'm just gonna say that I feel like as a kickoff for EA press conference to me in years past is very much like the baked potato of E3. Like it's solid, it's hearty, you're gonna get some stuff, but it's not gonna blow your brains out. It's not gonna knock your socks off. We all know what EA is about from now on.
I felt it was a bit rushed.
You think so?
Yeah.
Are you sure that you're not just remembering the year where they just showed the inside of offices for like 40 minutes?
No. Well, no, that is totally true. But like this year, it's just like for example, they showed a trailer for at the very beginning of the EA press conference. They showed a trailer.
Yeah.
And then they brought out a marching band to talk about for that trailer.
Right.
And then they moved on to another fucking game.
Yeah.
Never spoke about it. Never even said, hey, did you see that trailer? It was awesome. No, they just moved on to the next fucking game.
Well, let's just say right now that that one of the themes of this year's E3 is like, shut the fuck up and just show us trailers.
Yeah.
Like there was I'm going to say this every year, but you youngsters out there, you oldsters know what I'm talking about, but you youngsters who were disappointed probably have forgotten that we used to have to sit through like 45 minutes of tech specs, market projections, and sales figures before we got a single trailer. But this year it's just bing, bang, boom, 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 bang, bang.
Yeah, and that's a big thing I think you should look at is that because this year was also the first year that E3 was open to the public.
Ish. They're
touting that it's the first year.
Okay, that's full of shit. You could buy a ticket in years past.
Yeah,
but
they're touting that this is the first year. Well, from what I understand, previous years you could get passes, but it was not the way they did it this year.
Right.
But the big thing was that they were saying is like this is the first year to the public, and it's very clear that each of the press conferences were geared towards the non-journalist, credentialed person, video game credentialed person. This is for the average person that's coming in.
Yeah.
And it really showed because, like you said, normally they'd be like, hey, we did this, our profits are up and this is that. And
well, they haven't done that in years.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, they'll kind of cater, like, here's some information about the game. Now it's just like, fuck it, here's some trailers.
Yeah. So EA, one of the most hated companies. What was that, like 2 years ago, where they were voted like the worst company in America, behind like Bank of America. I mean, but kind of like some really truly.
Well, if I remember correctly, they overthrew Bank of America. If I remember correctly.
Oh, for worst. Okay, so anyway, we start out, and I'm going to say right now, I want a quick caveat before we get into this. There are it's actually fewer than in years past because last year we had UFC and other stuff, but EA Sports makes up. Let's see, 1, 2. What's it? We got Madden, FIFA. NBA.
There's an NBA game. And NBA Live.
NBA Live, yeah, NBA Live 18, and I think that's it. And we're not going to have. I'm going to mention those games and the things that they announced, but I don't think that either you or I really have any real analysis to do for this. Because
it's just weird because like I feel like the thing that they technically announced, and by announced I mean they showed a trailer and then didn't acknowledge the trailer at any point afterwards.
Sure.
I feel is actually a big thing for Madden.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't like go into it a little bit more really caught me off guard.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know what John is talking about, once we got done looking at a bunch of guys in a drum line, we got a trailer for NBA or for Madden 18, and it included it was mostly focused on what they call long shot, which is the story mode of Madden 18, where they've done this with the NBA one.
Yeah,
they
had the
FIFA.
Spike Lee. They had the Spike Lee joint.
Right, they did it in FIFA because this year's FIFA story is actually a sequel to last year's FIFA story.
Yeah,
but yeah, it seems like these must have done real well for them because it looks like an awful fucking lot of work for.
Well, they even got I forget the actor's name, but he just won an Academy Award for Moonlight or whatever, and then also was the Cottonmouth in Luke Cage. I can't remember the actor's name, but like he's like the mentor of the main character.
Okay.
So they're getting like actual actors to play in these games just like they had in the previous games or whatever.
The real question that I wonder is just, I'm not a sportsman, but like are the sports people, are they
So here's my theory. Here is my theory.
Yeah.
I don't think that is for the sports people.
Okay.
I think those are for the people who like sports movies.
Oh, okay.
That like video games, may not really like sports games, but want like that narrative experience.
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, thank you. But want that experience because here's the thing. I had no desire to play NBA, the last NBA game or whatever.
Sure.
I had no desire to play the FIFA game. And truthfully, I have no desire to play a Madden game. But watching these story trailers kind of make me go, I kind of want to play that story mode.
Checking it out?
Because though I may not be a huge sports fan, I am a sucker for the sports movie. Like, I love Mighty Ducks. I love Rudy. I love... No, I'm just saying, I like movies that...
Mighty Ducks was the first one? Any Given Sunday?
I'm going through it. Necessary Roughness, Any Given Sunday.
Okay.
Fucking Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Like, I love movies about a sport...
Dude, I would play a Necessary Roughness video game if it was just like if it was straight up Madden, but it was specifically about that. Where it's like, they should get the from later on here that what's the 70s one with the two guys by the Brothers developer? A Way Out.
A Way Out.
Like get him and the Madden team together, and we're gonna like try to break out of prison, but we're also gonna play a lot of prison football at the same time. I would play the shit out of that game.
But my point is like I like those kind of movies. Like if you tell me like what was it, like Invincible starring Mark Wahlberg or whatever,
sure.
there's fucking The Replacements. Like I like a movie that where the sport is basketball. I like movies where the sport, a sport, even a fake sport, is the central thing that drives the story forward.
Sure.
I am a sucker for that.
Teen Wolf. I would play a Teen Wolf.
Yeah, okay. Teen Wolf, I'll give you that. I'll give you that
NBA
one.
NBA 18, I want some Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf 2.
Sure. Let's have Teen Wolf versus Teen Wolf 2 as DLC for the next
They're the
NBA
same character, though.
But one was Jason Bateman and one was Marty McFly.
Yeah, this is true. But anyway, so I'm a sucker for that. So I feel like they know they've got the Madden fans. They know they've got the football fans with Madden. They know that they've got the basketball fans with the NBA games. They know that they've got, well, actually that may not be, considering the trouble that I think was EA that's the one that had the problems with their NBA Live games for a while there.
I think so.
And then they had to take like a really long time off from them because of how badly. But despite that,
because the 2K ones were like whooping their ass, right? And then the NBA Live like kept They had one where they just straight up canceled it, where they put out a demo and the demo was so poorly received they just nixed the entire game or whatever.
But my point is like I feel like them doing that, the story driven narrative element, this play mode, campaign mode, I feel like that is for the person who doesn't play Madden already. That is for the person to go, hey, we know you like story-driven experiences. Maybe you even like an actual cinematic style movie.
Sure.
Sports movie. You want a cinematic sports movie. Well, here's that experience where you're driving it forward, the narrative forward, as yourself, as a character that you've created, or as a pre-created character, whatever, because usually they do allow you to create the character a little bit.
At least customized.
Yeah, at least customized.
To a certain degree.
So, I mean, in that regard, I think that's who those are for.
Can I get hooked on pain medication, get ejected from the NBA, and then team up with a washed-out private detective to solve the murder of my girlfriend?
I don't know.
Because I would play a Last Boy Scout.
I just want to know if I can like blow out my knee and then go to the WWE.
Okay.
Like, can I do that? Like, blow out my knee and then go to the WWE and suddenly it turns into a different game?
That would be awesome. Yeah, eventually all these games are going to just ooze together and it's going to be like, hey, do you want to just take your character over into UFC? And it'd be like, yeah, man. And then you do UFC for a while. It's like, oh, you got too fucked up in UFC. You want to move over to the WWE?
You start off playing WWE 2K, a WWE game, and then suddenly you retire and go join football, and then quit football and go in the UFC, and then go back to the WWE.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it just gets progressively darker until it just becomes like Cart Life or something where you're just like, well, you wasted all your money and you're divorced and now it's just a Telltale game where you're just
God, now you're reminding me of what was that Suda 51 wrestling game from Japan where the ending is that you win the title, you beat the villain, but your girlfriend left you, your best friend is dead, and everything in your life sucks, so you commit suicide.
Suda 51, where were you? Speaking of crazy characters, Satan is back. I don't even remember this guy's name anymore because he just looks like the fucking Prince of Darkness to
yes,
me.
He does.
He wears like this weird. He's got this weird like shot. Like he looks like he was created in a CGI engine.
He looks like he's just wearing someone's skin.
Yeah. He always seems like he's got eye makeup on. His smile looks like he's about to try to suck your soul out. He seems like he's wearing lipstick even though he's not. Andrew Wilson. How do I forget that? So he comes back to basically just like, I don't know. You guys don't want to hear me recap his 10 minutes worth of just like blah, blah, blah. We're create and play and share, and we've got our whole system of blah, blah, blah.
Let's move through this shit because we got 30 minutes of Star Wars later in the thing.
Blah, 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 blah. I have to say that at least no matter what else I may say bad about EA, at least last year and this year, they have ended their conference with just like, we're going to show you 30 minutes of that multiplayer game that you want to play. Yeah. So even if we'll get back to that. Oh, by the way, put a pin in the story into a type of game franchise to make you care about it more, because I got one of those of my own, but it's coming up a little bit later. All right, so let's get the BS out of the way. Actually, you know what? I feel like that out of all of the conferences that we saw, let's just mentally do a rundown here, and John and I are doing this from memory, so forgive us. There wasn't a lot of DLC or phone games for that matter. You know, previous years we've had a lot of just like, you know, here's Star Wars the DLC game,
again,
phone
I think
right?
Because they know that the general audience is there, and that in previous years the general audience has been like, man, fuck your DLC, man, fuck your phone games. They're like, you know what? Let's just show them what the fuck they want.
How would they even know? I was watching the Twitch chat on one of these channels, like live, like the actual Twitch chat. I don't understand how anybody looks at the actual Twitch chat. It's madness.
Yeah.
Anyway, Battlefield 1 DLC in the name of the Czar. So first off, they had this dumb, weird YouTuber montage where there's a bunch of YouTube people playing Battlefield 1. This is the shit they need to get rid of next year, because I want to fucking just like watch people playing Battlefield 1.
I also feel like they need to not have YouTubers try to host events or host a segment of events, which we can get into a little bit more later.
Yeah, we'll get back to that in a minute. So basically, they announced that there's going to be a new Battlefield 1 DLC. It's called In the Name of the Czar. It's going to be 6 new maps. It's going to have the Russian army. It's going to be in the wintertime. It's also going to have the Women's Assassin Brigade or something like that. They had a trailer for that was very like, I don't know, it showed like a train in a countryside, some hussars. Like, apparently there's just dudes riding horses with pikes in this game, and I'm like, hey, man, I would have told you before Battlefield 1 came out that a dude on a horse with a sword was a stupid idea for a game with guns in it, but there's no point in Battlefield 1 that I enjoy more than running around on a horse and hitting people with a sword. So yeah, there's going to be 2 new night maps that are going to be just added into Battlefield 1, and then this expansion is coming, and it's going to be 6 new maps set in on the Russian campaign. It mostly looks like they're just using it as an excuse to put snow on everything.
Yeah. Well, we already got sand, so now it's snow.
Yeah. As you would expect, the trailer's super goddamn moody. It's just a real moody ass trailer. If you're playing Battlefield 1, you're probably going to buy this.
Yeah,
if you're not playing Battlefield 1, I tried to find out whether there was going to be any like single player campaign in this DLC, and I don't think so. I don't think so, but I couldn't really nail that down. So if there is, sorry y'all. I mean, it looks great. It's just more Battlefield 1, and Battlefield 1 didn't really do all that much for me. Also, they had a weird thing where the guy was like, we hear that you wanted more experiences, like smaller maps and et cetera, et cetera. So come back at Gamescom, because we're going to be talking more about that, which is the first of twice in this thing where they did some bullshit about just like, why are you wasting time being like, also we're doing another thing, but I'm not going to tell you about it. So your fucking friends like, oh man, and you're like, what? It's just like, nothing. It's nothing. Never mind. I can't talk about that right now. It's fuck you. All right, so from there we got a little bit more chaff, so to speak. There's this esports montage where they're just like showing a bunch of people like playing EA Sports esports, and they're just like,
looks like they're all playing FIFA and Madden.
Like Madden, and just oh man, and
talking about the drama that goes on behind the sings.
Dude, here's a championship. I don't think I've ever even watched competitive esports sports games.
Yeah, I've never. I mean, mind you, it's clear they happen because they're showing us it happening.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is they do have large crowds.
Sure.
When they do show crowd shots, so it's like they do happen. I've never heard of them.
Well, I mean, also neither you nor I really gives 2 shits about
this is true.
Madden or any of the rest of the
FIFA
stuff.
So
then, lordy Lou, we start talking about FIFA. And they bring out the men in blazers who are like, I don't know, some YouTubers or something, and they just talk.
I think they're actually radio shows in the UK.
Oh, okay, but they just talk.
Yeah,
they talk and EA has gotten the conference this year is so much better, but this is just grinds the whole fucking momentum to a halt, because at least before we were looking at trailers of FIFA and people winning esports cups or whatever, and these 2 guys just come out and they just yippity yap,
and they're making
FIFA.
Like jokes that like most people probably don't get.
Yeah,
talking about how one of them is bald and the other one is sort of bald.
Yeah, I don't know. This is one of those things where I guess it would be like, if you're
a fan and you know who they are, it's probably hilarious or whatever.
It would be like if you were watching the Academy Awards with your parents and fucking PewDiePie came out to announce an award, and they were just like, who the fuck is this guy? And you have to explain to them, all right, so on the internet and people, and this is blah. Or I don't know, PewDiePie's probably a bad example at this point after
it is
controversy. But
well, regardless, that's actually a very good example.
It would be like if you and I came out to present the next FIFA thing, and everybody else was like, "The fuck are these 2 assholes?" We're just like, "Yeah, you know what? I don't like FIFA. All right, let's watch trailers."
And that was
FIFA.
actually something I was going to bring up. It's like when you made the comments, like they need to stop with the YouTube people. I was like, they need to stop with the YouTube people. But having said that, if they were to go, "Hey Jeff, we want you and John to come and present something at the EA Play for E3 2018, we'd do it.
Oh fuck yeah, I'd do it. Fly me to LA.
We would totally do it. I mean, I would be honest with them. I'd be like, you realize it's gonna be a total shit show, right?
Yeah.
Just as long as you know that ahead of time.
Okay, not to get too far off on a tangent, but I was watching the Twitch channel at 4:00 in the morning after the Devolver press conference, and I'm not convinced that we can't put on a better show than what, because they were just going crazy.
Well, those were people by Twitch.
I know. Yeah. But I'm like, I think we could do better than this.
Yeah.
I think we could play Gang Beasts and make it more interesting than just like of course, they've got all these there's a lot of wrestling. Like after midnight on that Twitch channel, there's starting to be an awful lot of wrestling and wrestling-related products going on.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later. Okay, so let's finish up with FIFA. So this year, FIFA is the return of The Journey. Hunter returns. It's the return of Alex Hunter from last year's story mode. Again, we've got a sports game with a story mode. And this is like, oh, will Alex Hunter stay with the football club that he has been attached to? And I don't know. I didn't play the last one. But you know what? It must have sold well because
FIFA always sells well.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. FIFA is actually one of the... It is, if I'm not mistaken, it is a bigger seller than Madden.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It is fucking huge.
It would not surprise me.
It is one of their highest selling games.
Yeah.
If not the...
it would not surprise me even one little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, after that, we get back to that whole thing you were talking about with stop letting YouTubers host your thing because, my God, they found him. They found the king of the hipsters, the most hipster to ever hipster.
Hi, I'm Jesse. What was it? Jesse Wellens.
Jesse Wellens.
Yeah, Jesse Wellens. I'm, as you may already know, I'm a YouTuber or I'm a YouTube content creator. No, I don't already know. You fuckstick.
Okay.
I don't know who the fuck you are.
Okay, let's break this down. I don't normally like to fashion shame people in the video game industry because it's too easy. Pink t-shirt, washed out jean jacket, 3 days worth of beard scruff, and one of those kind of faux shaved on the sides
the
skater
Murphy
cuts. Yeah. Also glasses that are nerd glasses, but the frames are clear as well. A lot of hand motions, a lot of talking about stuff, a lot of just making me want to punch him in the face.
I actually have no problem with this guy. Whatever. He's
do.
Well, no, just as a person, if he's a YouTube content creator, that's great. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
But he is clearly reading a script, clearly awkwardly reading the script, and trying to seem cool and hip.
Yeah.
And it's just failing on every level.
Which is a real shame because he's talking about Need for Speed Payback, which I actually think looks really cool.
Here's my homeboy, come talk about the game, and oh man, let's go see what my dog over here has to show us on this computer screen over here.
Yeah,
man, this game is like the most dope, yo.
Yeah, they start out. It's funny because I immediately groaned and rolled my eyes, and then they started talking about in this game you're going to be able to find these wrecks out in the world and then fix them up and to stock and then soup them up to be supercharged. And yeah, that was the whole. My boy over here is customizing a Volkswagen Beetle, and I can actually see it on the screen behind him. He's just applying paint colors to different parts of the car.
Well, I think because he's not allowed to do anything.
Yeah, yeah. But what's funny is that then we actually go into looking at the game proper, and I'll be honest, this is actually really exciting. Now, this comes back to exactly what you were talking about with you take a thing that I'm not normally interested in, which is racing, and then add a story to it, and this story actually seems like it would work. And the reason is because it's just the first Fast and the Furious movie, or at least this little part is.
Yeah.
It's there's going to be, so the whole thing is there's
three main characters.
Yeah, three main characters, Tyler, Jess, and Matt, and they're taking down, quote, the House, which is this cartel that owns the law and all kinds of stuff. And they're doing it apparently by stealing a car from these guys. But what's cool, and before we go into describing this, it looks really nice. I mean, all this stuff is Frostbite, and it looks really good. But what I like about this particular mission is it's two main things. One, it's not a race.
Yeah.
This is not a racing mission. This is there's a truck with a car in it, and we need to catch up to that truck. And I like the fact that not only is it not a race, but it's there's a objective about taking other cars out. And when they get to that part in this trailer where they're taking other cars out, it looks like Burnout. And that was why I liked Burnout, was because it was about taking other cars out and not so much about just racing to the finish line.
Yeah. What was it? There was the very first Most Wanted that was on the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
That was kind of like that, where you were playing as an undercover cop, and they had that was basically similar to that.
Yeah.
I really like that game. I also like the Need for Speed Underground games, but those were straight out races. But this one looks interesting. Like, I want to play this.
I just got done. I managed to see Fate of the Furious, and like thinking about the Fast and the Furious movies, I'm just like, there have been plenty of movies, like Gone in 60 Seconds and Fast and Furious and whatever, that I've liked that have been racing oriented, even though I don't play a lot of racing games. But the difference is that those, and even Grand Theft Auto 5, I like, in spite of, I don't like pure races. I want them to give me something else. And like the hot pursuit model of just like, oh, well, you either have to outrun the cops or you have to catch the criminals, that wasn't enough. This, like, bashing other cars off the road and then they explode into a big bunch, or even like in this trailer, the guy in our main character catches up to the truck that's carrying this car, and that truck like slows down and hits him.
Yeah, the truck hits its brakes.
Yeah, and then they're going through a tunnel. When they come out of the tunnel, the road is just littered with like burning cars that are all on fire and fucked up. And I'm like, this looks great. This is much more dynamic than like, oh shit. Like in retrospect, or in comparison, we get to talking about Forza. Forza looks very pretty, but I have no interest in making sure that I shaved 0.1 seconds off of that curve, right? This is like, I'm running into other cars and blowing stuff up. You know, you're chasing somebody down an American highway. This seems to have more in common to me with Grand Theft Auto than it does with traditionally what I would think of for Need for Speed, or the last few Need for Speed games. I don't know. I feel like I've been just running.
Yeah, no. Like
time.
I said, I mean, I actually like enjoy some of the older Need for Speed games. Like Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2 are two of my favorite games. Yeah. I actually really like Need for Speed Most Wanted, which was the follow up from Underground. Yeah. In which you actually played an undercover cop, and you were kind of going up this street racing world to try to take down these guys who were, I don't know, doing bad. Yeah, it was kind of Fast and the Furious, but it also used like real actors.
Was it like live action?
Some of it was.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Like talking to you directly on the camera.
Yeah, somewhat. But then there was like later games where they tried it again and tried to make it even more cinematic and live action. And it was weird. But like after Most Wanted, I haven't really cared for, after that version of Most Wanted, I haven't really cared for any of the Need for Speed games that much. Yeah. For one reason or another, but this looks fucking awesome. Like I'm totally on board for this. I totally want to play a game where I'm like, criminals hijacking cars out of semi trucks, and
also the way that this car comes like breaking out of the back of the
there had to be like a ramp inside
there. Had to be explosions behind it. Like it had to have been launched, and it's a hot looking car. And then it's like you transfer over and you're playing as Jess and you're escaping with the car that you took.
Yeah. Also, is it just me, or is ever since Grand Theft Auto 5 did that 3 protagonist thing, like every now and then another company copies that for another game, for a different game?
To do more protagonists? I don't know. I think it's actually, I think it's a good idea, because I think that we live in a world where if you can make a game that isn't about one person.
Yeah, true. Good point.
But anyway, to be honest, without even having to fake it or having to force it, I'm interested in trying it out.
Yeah.
Now, if it ends up being this thing where it's like, oh, it's an open world, pull up to any light and hit the R3 button and you'll go online and challenge your friends to a race. Okay, I don't have any interest in that. If it's a series of connected storyline missions that are connected in an open world, like if that's the style of mission that we're going to be playing, and then there's an open world in between where you're driving to different missions and doing maybe races along the way that you can or cannot do. But if there's if there is a combat / adversarial bent to the game, as opposed to you got to become the greatest racer on fucking Skull Island. Oh man, we got 35 racers that come from all countries. This weekend we've got so many events. Pull up to any event. Do this event. It's a drift competition. It's a blimp race. Go underwater.
A racing game I wouldn't mind having.
What's that?
Speed Racer. A really good Speed Racer game.
It's funny. I was playing Mario Kart a lot on and I've been running through the different CC modes. So, like, obviously it starts really easy. And then today, before we started, you and I started recording, I was playing the Wipeout game that came out last week.
Yeah.
Wipeout's still hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's fast.
Yep.
And it's like, it demands that you know the track, but it's also fun because it's got a bunch of missiles and shields and all kinds of bullshit for you to use. And you can kind of just, like, blast those things out. So, but anyway, all right. So, I forget what this other fucking douche guy's name is. I don't, Patrick Soderlund. It's fine. He's not a douche. I'm sorry, everybody. Your sister's listening.
He's actually probably the most approachable guy.
Yeah.
like of the EA employees.
And he comes out to talk about EA Originals, and he talks about how he saw Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, which I really enjoyed, and was like, we need to get that guy to do something for us. And he did. And it's called A Way Out. And it looks really interesting.
It does.
This is so. Let's talk about the big elephant right off the bat. This is a mandatory co-op game.
Yes, but it can be either couch co-op or online co-op.
Right.
But regardless if it's couch or online, it's always split screen.
Yes. Now it seems like this was like the online co-op is made. I mean, you know, some people are just not going to have access to another person to play it with. But it looks like it was designed for couch co-op, right? And it's interesting because a lot of times I don't really like couch co-op in a game like this, but when I look at the way that this game is presented, like a lot of times they'll blow up one side so that it's larger than the other side because there's something more interesting happening on the right screen as opposed to the left screen.
Yeah.
They talk about how they have sometimes person on one screen will be a cutscene, and the person on the other screen will be doing something while that cutscene is going on.
Yeah, they can move around freely, whereas the person in player one can't move around freely because they're in a cutscene.
And it seems like this whole story is like, what, 70s? 60s or 70s?
Yeah.
And these two guys meet in jail, and then they're like, seems like there's going to be a lot of like first busting out of jail, and then once they get out of jail, they're going to kind of be like, you know, kind of be doing stuff together. It looks real interesting. It looks like a really good idea. I like the fact that it doesn't seem like any of these screenshots there's any UI, or at least that the UI is contextual, so you don't have to worry about, you know, cluttering up your screen. It is vertically horizontally split. The line goes through the middle of the screen as opposed to the vertical middle of the screen as opposed to the horizontal.
Well, it actually depends, because in one thing it was in the middle of the screen vertically, and then in another scene it was in the middle of the screen horizontally.
Oh, really?
Like
okay.
There was, like, for example, they were like, there was one where they were driving in a car. Like, one guy was in the driver, the other guy was in the back of the truck. The guy in the driver was the top half of the screen, and the guy in the back of the truck was the bottom half of the screen.
Okay.
So, I mean, it really, like, again, that kind of goes with the thing, is the way they're doing split screen is interesting, because sometimes one, like you said, has more, one screen may have more prominence than the other. Sometimes, you know, sometimes it may be vertical split screen, sometimes it's horizontal split screen, sometimes it's, you know, if both characters are on screen at the same time and there is no split screen, it's, you know, it just looks, it's doing it in an interesting way.
Yeah, it does look real interesting, and this is. I would say I would put this in my like top 10 or top 20 things I saw in E3, just because we got so many sequels and remakes and remasters this year, and this is just like a brand new IP from a guy whose last game kind of came out of nowhere and I thought was really fun.
Yeah.
Was a nice, short, sweet experience that did something really interesting. So if you want to throw a weird 70s co-op game at me, I'll play it. Like, yeah. I'll play it.
I'll play it.
All right, so after this, we talked about this seed thing, the Search for Extraordinary Experiences division. Whatever. I half expect this to be a Hideo Kojima reveal or something, but which basically talked about Scorpio and how many pixels, how many flops you can get out of Scorpio. Then we had the Anthem tease, which was kind of weird, because this is BioWare's game that apparently
their A-team has been working on, and the reason that BioWare Andromeda suffered is because they were focusing on this. And
Mass Effect and Andromeda. But it was just like a very brief moment, and then it was like, hey, stay tuned for the Microsoft conference where we'll actually show you the video game. And it was like, all right. I mean, that was the next conference to happen, but, you know, it's kind of weird for them to push off their own content out of their own conference to Microsoft. I bet Microsoft just paid them a shitload.
Oh no, I'm sure they did.
Next up, we've got. So we'll be talking about that when we go over to the Microsoft conference. NBA Live 18. We've already kind of talked a lot about that. They had this really, really brief kind of like showing how you could control ball handling with the right stick. I mean, but I'm dumb.
Yeah.
And there's a trailer where they basically kind of show, like, it's very similar to the rest of them. There doesn't seem like there's a named person, but it's like, make your character and then rise from the streets to become an NBA legend. Do that thing. Get different hats and shorts and things and do all that. So yeah, if you want somebody to tell you why that's really exciting, I don't know, maybe go listen to a podcast where they talk about sports.
I mean, I was a big fan of NBA home court, so the fact that there is a home court like 3-on-3 aspect in this makes me interested, but also I'm not a huge sports fan, so.
Yep. All right, and last but certainly not least, from there, Satan comes back on, talks a little bit about the charity efforts that they've done.
Which good on them.
Yeah. And they also talk about how what they're going to be making a bunch of games free for the week for people to look at, which by the time this comes out may even be over.
Yeah.
And then we go to Star Wars, and we knew we were going to Star Wars. So this whole part was hosted by Janina Gavankar, who is the person who is the Special Forces person in the single-player mode of Battlefront 2.
Yeah, it's like Iden Verno or Veriso. Like, it's a really Star Wars name.
She comes out, and she's like, I'm Janina Gavankar. I play Commander Iden Versio of Inferno Squadron. And it's just like, wow, dude, you just packed so many things together at one thing.
Yeah. Here's the thing. She's actually an interesting actress. I actually have seen her in some stuff, so, I know who she is.
Like what?
She was the co-main character in the last season of Sleepy Hollow.
Okay.
Because the other female had left the show, so she was the replacement. She was also a bit character in the TV show The League.
Okay.
She was the one who played Shiva, a character named Shiva.
Sure.
But she's an interesting actress. She's been in some good stuff, and she carried out of the EA conference, she was probably the highlight as far as hosts go.
Yeah, she definitely. I mean, it did
as far as hosts go.
It didn't hurt that she's a very attractive woman who came out in a very weird Star Wars skirt and such. I don't know. There was a whole thing on Polygon where they were just like, she should host everything next year, and I'm like, let's
slow your roll, Polygon.
Let's not. I mean, but I think that what they were doing is they were directly comparing her to the Need for Speed YouTube guy, and it was just like, well, between the two of them, bring an actress out to do stuff, sure.
Yeah. Also, an actress who seems to play video games and know what she's talking about.
I have a hard time. I had the same problem with a lot of people where the host comes up on an E3 conference and they're just like, oh man, that game looks great. I can't wait to go back and play it all night long because I play games all the time. Look at how many games I play. I love video games.
But the thing is, she didn't do that, though. That's the thing. Her reaction was like, yeah, I watched that trailer 12 times backstage because because my mom's here, because it's the greatest moment of my life.
Yeah.
It was just, it came off sincere. Whether she was acting or that actually was legitimately she was sincere.
Yeah.
It came off sincere, which is what you want.
Fair enough.
I mean,
I don't know. Here's the thing. I think that I've only ever been happy with a person hosting an E3 conference with the person doing the presenting of an E3 conference one time in my life, and I think it was when fucking what's his face that used to be the PlayStation hype man.
Oh yeah, Kevin Butler.
Kevin Butler came out and did that whole fucking "We Are Gamers" thing, and it was just that was the best thing, and everybody else has been either stilted or I don't know, or I don't want to listen to it. Here's the thing. I don't want to listen to a developer talk to me about video games. I don't want to listen to Satan talk to me about video games. I don't want to listen to Shigeru Miyamoto's robot clone guy talk to me about video games. I don't really want to listen to Aisha Tyler talk to me about video games either. I kind of just wish that they just started the conference, played a bunch of trailers, and then ended it, and that was kind of it. No, wait. Reggie. I'll listen to Reggie.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, Reggie's fine.
Anyway, we're getting a little off topic here. So let's Battlefront 2. So let's talk about. First, they had this again. EA. I don't know why EA does this sort of thing where they had this little kind of mini documentary that went on for about 5 to 10 minutes about the quote, the game changers. We brought in the game changers, and these are basically fans of Battlefront that DICE brought in to be like, hey, what did we do wrong? And they're just like, single player campaign. We don't like paid DLC. Make classes. Make it Battlefront 2. I don't know.
Yeah, wasn't one of them Stone Mountain?
Oh yeah. Yep.
One of the guys, because I remember in the chat, you just started typing in Stone Mountain!
Yeah, I mean, last year, Stone Mountain, man. So, Yeah, they talked with the game changers for a little while, and then they had a trailer for essentially the multiplayer mode, which we haven't really seen any of yet.
There was, unfortunately, a leak earlier in the day.
Oh yeah,
of the multiplayer mode being played. But yeah,
I was really busy on Saturday, so people are like, "Oh, Kingdom Hearts leaked and this leaked," and I'm just like, I haven't seen any of this. But okay, so let's talk about this. We'll talk about a little bit about this trailer, but this is almost bleeding. You know what? Let's not talk about this trailer because everything that we're seeing in here we could talk about when they're actually doing the thing. So some of the big trailers or some of the big things that they announced. They got John Boyega to Skype in and basically say that Finn and Phasma will be free characters and
free DLC characters
Battlefront
after
2.
the game comes out.
And then Janina said that that there's going to be theme season of post-launch content for no additional charge, and that all post-launch content will be free. I was looking for some weasel words in there.
I did see a weasel word that I was a little worried about. She said all season pass content will be free.
Yeah. It's like, well, then why is there a season pass?
Why is it called a season pass?
They also had a thing where, like, oh, if you pre-order now, you can get Yoda's lightsaber thing. And it's like, well, what if I don't pre-order? Because they made a big deal about, we want to keep everybody in the same realm.
Well, I mean, they already did the pre-order thing of if you pre-order, you get Rey and Kylo Ren's costumes from the next Star Wars movie.
Oh, yeah. So, I don't know. I have a feeling that there might be, goddamn, it's EA. Could they really just pass up the ability for season pass?
Oh, no. You know what I think they're going to do?
Microtransactions?
I think it's
loot boxes.
Loot boxes.
It's going to be fucking loot boxes.
I think they're going to be loot boxes because we already know that characters have alternate costumes.
Oh, yeah.
So, and apparently you get Yoda's lightsaber as an alternate thing.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no. It's totally going to be loot boxes.
Oh, shit. I forgot, too. They had those cards that you burned up when you used them in Battlefront 1. Oh, damn. So, there you go. Your wish has been granted, fans of Battlefront. No more season pass, but loot boxes.
And you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I am too.
As long as there's a way to earn the loot boxes in game normally by play, then fine. That's cool. I'm perfectly happy with that. It works for Overwatch. It can work with
I'm willing to make that sacrifice.
Yeah.
Like for Battlefront 1, they had both the play to earn coins to unlock stuff and paid DLC, and that was a little bit much. For Battlefront 2, if it's just like you buy the game, you get everything. Also, we've got, because I have no problem with Overwatch continuing to give me content and then the cost for that being the loot boxes in the game. I have no problem with that. Because I have zero issue not buying loot boxes.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So then from there, we wrapped it up, and then we went on to the actual live show hosted by two of the devs and also mortal nemesis of Rage Select, Justine, or maybe she was mortal nemesis of the loading bar. I can't remember. Isn't
she just like mortal nemesis of you and Jason?
I don't even think Jason knows who she is anymore. I think she's just. I just looked at her YouTube page while she was hosting this and went, "Why the fuck is she here?" Last year, she was like the Game Informer, or the GameStop Live, or like IGN. She was like the weather girl, where she just was reading tweets. I'm like, how the fuck do we keep inviting you to games? Have you looked at your YouTube channel? It's like
there's nothing about games.
There's nothing about games. You're just a skinny blonde girl. Like that's it. Like I don't understand. I don't understand why she was a fucking RTX that one year.
Well, I get that because the RTX tends to cater more to YouTube people, and she is a YouTube person. So
yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'm not gonna.
RTX is not specifically a video game thing.
Anyway, so then we watched 30 minutes of actual footage.
Oh yeah, and then randomly fucking NBA video popped up in the middle of the feed for some reason.
Yeah, somebody switched to the wrong video. Okay, so let's talk about some of the stuff. I feel like they listened to the feedback from the community.
I do, yeah.
One, classes are back. So instead of just customizing your individual trooper, you'll have like officer or heavy gunner or sniper or whatever. I personally like the way that they were doing it before, where everybody kind of started out on even ground and you can kind of customize the way you want it. But whatever, fucking you want it. They want the people who are way into playing multiplayer games, and I had fun playing Battlefront, but I didn't keep it up. Also, instead of picking up random tokens to become heroes or spaceships or do different things, you're now going to be earning tokens that you use to cash in for those things. So basically, the better you play, the faster you'll be able to do those things, which I'm kind of mixed about because I kind of liked the idea that me being a shit-ass player, every so often I could be like, "Ooh, look, it's the Luke token. I'm gonna be Luke for a few minutes and then get killed." I don't know. I'm well on record as being a guy who liked the fact that Star Wars Battlefront was like baby's first online shooder.
Yeah.
That
it was very new player friendly.
Yeah. I don't really...
I even have a lot of friends who didn't play a lot of video games. And then they started playing Battlefront and like really got into it. And then continued that with Overwatch.
Yeah.
And now they're like, yeah, man, I'm totally, but they're like, when I told them about Battlefront 2, they were like, yeah, so is this the same or what's different? And I started talking a little bit out, and they're like, oh, I don't know if I want to play that.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on, the thing I feel like, for anybody who wants to know, and I feel like most of the people who are listening to this podcast are going to be Rage-like fans, but for anybody who wants to know, if you go watch the Sunday stream that we did for Battlefield 1 and how upset and frustrated I got just not being very good at Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
And then go watch any of the times that we played Star Wars Battlefront. And it was just a great time. Like, I didn't care if I was dying, just jetpacking around and blasting people. And so I really hope that this isn't hewing too far in the Battlefield 1 direction. It doesn't look like it is.
Yeah, I do wonder how the heroes thing works, because if it's a how do you? I mean, so is it the thing where if enough people have enough credits that multiple people can become heroes at the same time?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's just that the heroes pop by credits, because there's actually a point where we see Darth Maul and Boba Fett and then Rey all in very quick succession, and the guy playing Darth Maul kind of keeps playing Darth Maul. I get the feeling that he was killing enough people to keep respawning or whatever. Okay. I don't know for sure. That was the impression that I got. Like, somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but the 30 minutes that we get here, though, is it's a battle over Theed. It looks fantastic. I mean, it always looks really nice. And we see, it looks like it's basically like a take on Walker Assault, where the droid army is trying to push to the throne room, and there's 3 phases, and then the clone troopers are trying to keep hitting this giant tank with like ion cannons to stop it. We see a lot of stuff. The heroes look really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it is worth noting, we do not give 2 shits for continuity in this game.
Oh, no.
Rey is here on Naboo during the Clone Army time fighting stuff. So is Darth Maul, who should be dead at this point.
Well, actually, he didn't die, but that's beside the point.
Well, then he should have robot legs, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm cool with that if they want to put robot legs in here. But
it's probably a skin.
Boba Fett and Rey definitely don't belong
No, you're right.
in this part. Which, I'm kind of okay with if they're going to be expanding to all these different... I actually think that the Clone Wars, as much as I'm not really the biggest fan of the movies, it makes for a better setting for a game like this, like a shooty blast video game.
Because there were more large-scale battles in those movies.
Right. Like, we never got the impression, between like the cartoon and between the movie, there's a bunch of different like iconic like ships and tanks and stuff, as opposed to... the original trilogy, the Rebels didn't have any, they didn't have shit. They just had guns, right?
Yeah.
So then we get to, okay. But anyway, anything in particular that struck you about all this?
No, pretty much we covered it.
Okay. Because I think that...
Like I said, I'm optimistic about it. Like, I want to play it.
Yeah.
I think, there's stuff that does look really cool.
Yeah.
I am a little also worried about it, like we said, that, hopefully the changes are for the better, like even for the average player, and not for the worse.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't know. I just want it to be. I want it to be fun. And a lot of and I'm not trying to sour grapes it, because I'm not demanding that anybody make a multiplayer game specifically for me. It's just that I was very pleasantly surprised by both Overwatch and Star Wars Battlefront. And I cut Battlefront a lot of fucking slack for the people that are like, it should have a single player campaign, the story DLC is bullshit, or the DLC Season Pass was bullshit. All those maps should have been in with the game to start with. All those heroes should have been in the game to start with. I agree with you, but the thing is that I just always had so much goddamn fun playing it. Like, it was always just such a blast to play that I was willing to cut it an awful lot of slack. I hope that in making the changes that they wanted, that this doesn't become just like some hard as nails online shooter that I can't enjoy, because there's already a ton of those, and I don't need another one. But that was EA. I guess it was weird how, like, before they started this part of the conference, they like cut to outside where people were showing the Galaxy of Heroes phone game.
Oh yeah,
like,
and then they could turn the stream off.
Yeah,
like in the middle of a guy talking.
Yep, it was real
like
strange.
Mid-sentence, and then like 3 minutes later, turn the stream back on.
Yeah. Also, let's say some other things. It was nice that they didn't do the whole like introducing every single person playing the video game thing like they did last year. They didn't bother with celebrities because, I mean, even though I'm sure they could have found 20 celebrities to play, they didn't really even bother with very much like showing the person playing the game.
Yeah.
Which was nice because it didn't really add a lot to Battlefield 1 last year to see Snoop Dogg can't play Battlefield 1. But
and was smoking a joint the entire time.
That was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Saying all that, talking all that trash, that was still the funniest thing I've ever seen. You guys go back watch last year's Battlefield 1 demonstration, because there's one point where Snoop Dogg is straight up smoking a joint in the place where they're playing the game, and if you look at his screen, he's just running up against a wall. He doesn't know what to do, and it was just like, yes, I would watch that.
And Terry Crews being a badass mofo.
Absolutely. We'll get to Terry Crews. We got some Terry Crews on the horizon.
I know.
So that was EA. And all told, here's the thing. There was a lot of good stuff in here.
Yeah, no, there was.
It's just, I think that one of the big things that I'm going to keep coming back to is just that there wasn't a lot of like blow your face off, oh shit, I didn't even know that was happening reveals.
Yeah, I feel like everything was kind of stuff we already kind of knew about, and I feel like the stuff that we didn't know about, like the Madden story mode, was kind of underplayed.
Well, yeah, I mean,
in a way that it almost didn't feel like it was important.
We knew Battlefront 2 was happening, and
we knew it had a story mode.
So that wasn't really a big thing. We knew that BioWare was working on something new, and that there wasn't going to be Dragon Age or Mass Effect.
But at the same time, they told us we'll wait till tomorrow.
Right. Need for Speed was a little bit interesting, but it's just so contingent because I've been burned by him. Well, not burned, but I buy him every year to play on Rage Select, and I've never really had any interest in continuing to play one. So, and I think that, and then for me, A Way Out was probably the best thing.
Yeah, no, Way Out was a really good surprise,
especially because with last year's like Mafia, I think the 70s is a great kind of like place to put a video game, and I don't know.
I will also say, because we kind of skipped over it, when they asked the developer of A Way Out and Brothers to come out and talk, like he was like super nervous. But he was like also really genuine and really like endearing in a way because
he was super excited
because of how excited he was to show this off.
He said his name wrong.
Yeah, he missaid his name. He mispronounced his name. That's how nervous he was.
Yeah,
but it was weirdly endearing.
Oh yeah, no.
So it was great.
No, it's just this guy that came out. He was just like, I love this game. I get to E3. Hey, Mom.
It was the Peggle 2 of this year.
Yeah. It was kind of like if
except where Peggle 2 kind of came off weirdly disingenuous, this totally felt
if the Unravel guy had drank like 4 Locos before he came out on stage.
Yes.
All right, well, you know what? We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk about Microsoft, and boy howdy was there a lot of Microsoft to talk about. So we're going to have to do that even faster than EA. Stick around and we'll be right back.
That's my cue. It's go time. Yeah, son. Oh yeah. Welcome to the agency.
And we're back, and it's time for Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft had. Okay, so let's talk before we jump into what they actually did. Let's just do a little bit of an overview. So this was, I feel like this was a big. I feel like there's a lot at stake for Microsoft because the Xbox One, we've got Scorpio coming out, and there's been a lot of rumors as to the number of flops, and we'll get into the flops and all the flops, but. Like, what I really wanted to see out of Microsoft this year was reasons to buy an Xbox One. Like, console-exclusive stuff for the Xbox One.
Yes.
because I've been saying for a long time about my whole thing about how there's just a lot more games right now. There's a lot more console-specific games for the PS4 than there is for the Xbox One. So I feel like if you are looking for, the difference between the two of them. Also, I'm kind of surprised that we didn't get any. I was half thinking that one of the big surprises would be that the Scorpio is going to be able to support the Oculus Rift. That you were going to be able to, because Xbox is now the only platform that doesn't really have a VR
it's also weird
solution.
because Microsoft has been asked about that.
Yeah.
And their reaction was, we think that VR is something for the PC space. It has no place in consoles.
Right.
Like they're very I feel like they got burned so hard on the Kinect thing that they're like, we don't even want to fucking touch it.
Which is interesting because there was VR in the PC conference and there was definitely VR in Sony's conference.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. The other thing is I think that it's interesting, and this is kind of a spoiler alert for the conference, that outside of Crackdown, we didn't see any real that a lot of the stuff that you expect to see from Microsoft didn't show up. No Halo, no Gears.
Yeah.
And I know that it's too soon for Gears because we just had a game, and it's kind of too soon for Halo as well, but like nothing in those spaces really.
Yeah.
So we also didn't see anything. I mean, we knew Death Stranding wasn't going to be there. I know they showed. Was it Metal Gear Solid 5 they showed like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
That had been Metal Gear Solid 5 thing. So, and no, they even had Dark Souls 3 was on their conference last year. So it's interesting to see what is here, and I'm interested to kind of know from both you, because I know that you like your Xbox One, right? You
I
use
still
it quite
have
a bit.
my OG Xbox One.
Yeah.
So I have the first gen one. I don't have an S. I don't have obviously the new thing that they just announced.
Right.
But
that isn't available to purchase yet.
Yeah. No, I totally got it. It's in my house. It's totally great. It's the best thing ever. No. I got the original Xbox and I like it. I still use it. I actually play games on it still. I use it. I use a lot of functions in it. It's I like it. I like the Xbox. If I have to choose between, like, if a game's coming out for both Xbox and PS4, unless it's a multiplayer game, or unless it has like a specific feature that's exclusive to the PS4, like for VR, like with Resident Evil 7,
right?
Unless it's something like that, I'll most likely play it on my Xbox.
Okay.
Just because I prefer the controller.
Yeah.
I prefer, their interface leaves a little bit to be desired, but I also feel like the same could be said for Sony as well. But
I have a much harder time just finding stuff on the Xbox One, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't think that the PlayStation
no, I'm saying
is
the user interfaces. I'm not now when you're talking about like the store. Oh, fuck their stores and complete, like, once they did that last update where they kind of combined all the stores into one, and it just, everything is fucking hard to find now.
Yeah. But and then I feel like they partially succeeded in what I was looking for, because I feel like that when we go down this list, we're going to see that there's a lot of stuff here that is that there were.
They use the word exclusive a lot.
Oh boy!
But they had like certain terms with the term exclusive that mean different things.
If you put the word platform before exclusive, well, that's a little bit of a different. That's a horse of a different color, as we say.
They would have things that say like console exclusive or console launch exclusive.
Yep.
That essentially console launch exclusive means timed.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting, because let's start by what's his face? Who's their guy now? Not. Is it Phil Spencer?
Spencer, yeah.
Is he the guy?
Yeah.
So he came out. He's their big Xbox guy, and he came out, and we started with the Xbox Scorpio, which is confusingly titled the Xbox One X.
I get why they called it that. I totally get why they called it that.
The Xbox One Xbox One Xbox.
The reason it's called Xbox One X is because the initials are Xbox.
Okay.
I'm not joking. It's X.
Right. No,
B-O-X.
No.
Those are the initials for the console.
No.
So I get why they did it. Is it cheesy and fucking kind of lame? A little bit. If I have one issue with it, is that when saying it out loud, Xbox One X sounds very similar to Xbox One S.
Oh yeah.
And
that's true.
that is going to be like, while no one is going to confuse them as a product on the store shelves,
right?
Or with the product, with the UPC code on the box.
When you're asking your mom what you want for Christmas,
yeah, we're talking to people like, do you have the Xbox One X or the S? I don't, it can get a little,
right?
That I totally, I have issues with that. I get why they did it. It's a cute way to do it. I do feel maybe they should have done something to brand it a little bit different, but also seeing what they're doing with it, fine. It's fine.
I feel like they need because we have the Xbox, right? Then we had the Xbox 360. That's great. I know, you know what? I refer to my 360 all the time, right?
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Then we have the Xbox One. Well, I'm not just going to call it the One. It's the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Oh, the first Xbox. No. The Xbox One. And now we have the Xbox One X, whose initials are Xbox. I'm like, call it the fucking Super Turbo Hyper Edition. I mean,
I have no problems with them calling, later iterations of the Xbox One, Xbox One S, or Xbox SI, or whatever you want to call it. Like, they're trying to name it like an iPhone. iPhone 7, iPhone 7S, iPhone 7 SI, that's what they're doing. That's all they're fucking doing. It's the same product. It's not a new console. It's not a new console that's going to have games that are exclusive to it. It is the same fucking console as an Xbox One, except it has more power.
Yeah. I wish they'd just call it the Xbox 5. Just get out in front of it, all right? Microsoft, just call it the Xbox 5. I think, technically you can go, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox One S. This is the 5th Xbox. Just call it that and be like, look how much higher than Sony our numbers are.
Xbox One S is just an Xbox One.
Well, sure, I know.
Same with Xbox One X. It's just an Xbox One.
Well, yes.
It's not a new console. And I think that's where they're going to have a lot of problems with this.
At this point, the word Xbox has stopped meaning anything in my brain. It's just become white noise. So let's talk a little bit. There's a lot of teraflops. There's
a lot of flops.
They had a guy who came out
going around,
and he just rattled off numbers
and words.
And if you want to go to Ars Technica or one of those
what was
websites,
it, like Ion Processing something or other?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I don't know. I don't know.
I actually really liked it
cooled.
when we were watching it. Like, you just type in the chat, like, what the fuck is Ion Processing? And then Amanda was like, it processes the ions, Jeff. Duh.
I mean, okay, so
or vector processing or something.
The end result here is it's faster than an Xbox One. It's essentially more powerful than a PS4 Pro.
Yes.
It is, but it is like a PS4 Pro in that it will run we've just entered this thing where apparently mid-generation we're just going to have a better version that runs things better.
Yeah.
Runs things in 4K. It's a little bit smaller. It's actually quite a bit smaller than the original.
Yeah, it's actually smaller than the Xbox One S.
Yeah. And it's the world's most powerful console. Huzzah. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. Let's talk about what that means.
I will still say one thing that has still baffled me, and this is kind of a non sequitur or whatever. It can play 4K Blu-ray movies.
Yes.
The Pro can't do that. Why can't the PS4 Pro do that?
I swear to God that I read a thing where they said that they patched that functionality into the PS4 Pro.
They said it'll never be patched in because they don't have that kind of drive in it.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. I don't have a 4K TV.
Yeah, no, I know, but they also did state that one other thing I did like that they said is that interestingly enough, Sony has always been like, well, if you don't have a 4K TV, get the PS4 regular. If you do have 4K, then definitely get the PS4 Pro because that's designed specifically for you in mind. Here, Microsoft went, if you have a 4K TV, then this is the console you want. You need to get the Xbox One X. If you don't have a 4K TV, you are going to notice some difference, so get it anyways.
Yeah, which I can actually attest that there's been a slight upgrade in I recently have been playing stuff on the PS4 Pro, and there's been a slight upgrade in the graphics. I don't think it's going to be as dramatic unless you've got a 4K TV.
Yeah.
So,
I in all honesty, when it comes to the Xbox One X, I kind of feel like about it in the same way I feel about a PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
Eventually, I will probably want to get one of those consoles because eventually I'm going to upgrade to something that has 4K, and obviously I'm going to want those. But right now, I don't need it. I've got a PS4 that works perfectly fine. I've got an Xbox One that works perfectly fine.
Absolutely. The only reason I got one was because the optical drive on my PS4 was starting to go out, and I wanted another one. Now, speaking of what, since we're knee deep in this particular territory, let's talk about something that I think that all this is fine. It basically just puts them into hardware parity with the PlayStation, right? And PCs, and not totally PCs, because PCs are always better. But let's talk about price.
Yeah, this is where they kind of goofed a bit.
$500.
Yeah, $499.
So this to me is a bit of a problem because specifically they don't have, in my mind, the library to the exclusive library to push if you already have an Xbox to buy an Xbox One, and if you're going to go buy a new console and you want the good one and you do the research, is it that much better than the way that it looks on the PS4 Pro, which is $100 less?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
PS4 Pro is $100 less.
Yeah.
We've established that. If I don't have a console, let's say I don't have a PS4 and I don't have an Xbox.
Yeah.
Why would I go spend $500 on a console when I can buy a regular PS4 and an Xbox One S for less than I pay for an Xbox One X?
Or let's be clear here. You can get a $700 gaming PC that will whoop the pants off of both of them, right?
Yeah.
For $700, you can buy a pre-built PC that will do as much as that will give you access to all the garbage on Steam, and it's a PC, right? So the thing is that I feel like, again, I just feel like Microsoft a lot of times doesn't understand their current positioning in the industry.
Also, this is not the first time that a console from any company has been priced at $499.
Yep.
And how did that work out for those companies that did that in the past? It didn't.
Yeah.
Let me just spoiler alert. It didn't work out.
Well, so I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like $500 is too close to a PC, and it's $100 more than a PS4 Pro.
It should have been $399.
It should have been
really should have been.
And and I'm not saying, like, I don't want this to come off to the people who like Xbox by saying that I think it's trash or anything. It's just that, you know what? If you look at the specs on the Xbox One and what's available and blah, 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 it's totally worth $500. Unfortunately, you're in a retail space that will probably not hold that up for people who are not fans of the Xbox. Like, if you're just going into a store, yes, you make an excellent point that you could buy both consoles for $500 if you just got the older ones, right? The 250 versions. You could also get a PC. So it's weird that they want such a high bar of entry. And the other thing that's interesting about this is that, as I was talking about before, I really do know that this is not a concern for a lot of people, but there's no VR offering on the Xbox One right now. So like, if you buy a PS4 Pro or if you buy a PS4 regular and the VR headset, that's like $650. You could go to the store, spend $150 more, and walk out with not just a PlayStation 4 that plays games well. It's not ugly or anything. It's like an Xbox, like a PS3 or anything, and a VR headset. Or you could buy a PC and there's more future-proofing in a $700 PC than there is in a $500 console.
Yeah, it's like I said, if I think they fumbled with just talking about the Xbox One X, just talking about that, if they fumbled on anything, it was the price.
I think that it could even have stood up at $449. I think that it could even have stood up at $50.
Yeah, I think it'd have a better leg to stand on.
Yeah,
because you could make the argument of, well, it's better than the PS4 Pro.
Well, yeah. Hey,
so you're paying $50 more for that better,
Yo, bro, you wanted to watch 4K Blu-rays, right? Like,
exactly.
Come on, man. But give us an extra $50. What is that to you? $50 is nothing.
Also, I think like the cheapest HD DVD or HD Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray player, I think, is around $500.
Okay.
So
there you go.
To price it at $450, you're pricing it under. Like, I think, I could be wrong. I'm sure someone out there is going to be like, John's fucking wrong. I actually went to, the reason that I ended up with the PSVR is because I went to the store to potentially buy a 4K TV, because apparently you can get those for like $350 now. So it's not totally outside of the realm of possibility. Like, I've been thinking about replacing my old ass, HD TV that I've had for 10 years. So again, I say all this stuff out of a place of concern because I want Microsoft and Sony stabbing each other like fucking Game of Thrones style for every cent of my money, and the only way that works is if they're
comparable in the market. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
And I am a fan. I am a fan of the Xbox. I was totally happy with everything except for that price.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff that I wasn't happy with, but
all right. Well, let's move on.
That was my big gripe about this whole thing.
Let's move on to from that to the thing that John and I really care all about. Forza!
Yeah!
Forza Motorsport 7. So we got a big trailer for Forza Motorsport 7.
And we knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Because, Horizon was last year, so this year has to be Forza because they always stagger them like that.
Yep.
Also, they unveiled a new Porsche.
Yeah, they brought a physical Porsche out on stage.
Like it was the first time it had ever been seen by the public.
You know what's funny is I feel like outside of that, and I guess what the there were very.
They did it last year too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, like this is not the first time that some people I feel like in our chat room were kind of hammering on them a little bit. This is not the first time that they've driven a car out onto E3 stage. You know, we had the Twisted Metal. You know, fucking Sony had that thing with the people hanging from the ceiling for no reason. Like I was just like, why?
Yeah.
Why? March out a lady dressed up like Lady Darth Vader and a bunch of stormtroopers and just be done with it, right? But this new Forza, if you're into Forza, this looks like the best one ever. It's got real-time weather and lighting conditions, and it's got the new Porsche, which actually looks an awful lot like every other Porsche I've ever seen in my entire life. I did like the fact that the driver in all the trailers was a lady, so we're gonna have to come up with a new Forza sibling. I think it was we were saying Tammy.
Yeah, it was like there was Thomas Forza. Yeah, it was like Tammy Forza.
Yeah, but anyway, as I said in the chat room, the vanilla ass Forza games I'm somewhat interested in, but if I'm going to be playing a driving game, I much prefer Horizon because it's all about spectacle and driving off road and crazy shit.
I mean, there was a time when I did play the Forza games because I played racing games. I mean, sometimes, but yeah, it looks good.
It looks incredible every time. Car games in Madden always look incredible because you got we're going to do Nuremberg for the 60th time, but this time it's got more rain and better looking rain and stuff. It looks great. I mean, it looks really fantastic, and if you're into racing and driving, I think you should totally get it. Also we forgot to mention that if you buy a PC, you get all these Windows 10 exclusive.
Yeah, so that's the other thing is that every game announced, while it may be console exclusive or console launch exclusive, they're all coming out on PC.
Yeah,
every game Microsoft announced they even said every game that they announced is going to be coming out on both Xbox One and PC.
Yeah, which again kind of begs the question of, well, then why not just get a PC? Anyway, so let's move on from Forza to this was actually a pretty big surprise, this next one, because if there was one thing that I didn't expect to see coming out of a Microsoft conference, out of any of the console-specific conferences, is a Metro game.
Yes, to live without hope is to cease living.
Yeah. So this is Metro. What was this called? Metro Exodus.
Yeah.
And it looks real good. I mean, it looks like a Metro game. For any of you who haven't played Metro, I feel like you could pick up that 2-pack on the current gen consoles for real cheap.
You can probably
$20. I didn't play 2033 all the way to the end, but Last Light is very much kind of a BioShock, but it's mutants and Chernobyl and weird apocalypse stuff. This looked really good. It's fighting a bunch of monsters in the underground.
Giant rat.
Yeah, kind of going out onto the surface, and there's some big monsters up on the surface. The level of detail and everything that you're seeing in here is pretty cool.
Did the previous games go out onto the surface when it wasn't winter looking?
I don't remember. I know that there was I thought that previously, if you were on the surface, you needed the gas mask.
Yeah.
If you were underground, then you were fine, or you're mostly fine underground. Yeah. Here, the guy the person, whoever's playing, takes their gas mask off when they come up to the surface. But yeah, I mean, this looks real nice. There's a big old crazy zombie bear.
Shows and bears.
Actually, this looks like a mole rat or something. But yeah, I like liked Last Light. I never played 2033 all the way to the end. Do you have any feelings about Metro?
I never really played the Metro games, so I really can't. I mean, it looks great. Like what I'm looking at looks really cool, and looks like it'd be.
It looks incredibly scripted, though.
Yeah.
Like.
No, this trailer totally looks. This thing totally looks scripted. I wouldn't be surprised if the actual game while it has the same set pieces and everything, doesn't run as scripted as this is.
Yeah, I think one of the things maybe is that it was. Like, the last Metro was fun to play, but boy, howdy, can I not remember the story of it at all.
It just occurred to me.
What's that?
And this goes for all the press conferences.
Yeah.
There weren't people demoing the games on stage a lot. It was... You would see trailers or these videos that felt very scripted.
Yeah.
But there was no one out, like, on stage playing them.
Oh, there was.
Okay.
On Forza, in that last part, do you remember there were two different people that were playing it? So.
Okay, yeah. I'm just saying, that you didn't see that a lot, though.
Yeah, there was a lot less of it, but then I feel like E3 has been moving away from that for years.
And there was the weird guy that we'll get to later.
We'll see more of that actually now. Because the next thing that they showed was the new Assassin's Creed Origins, which we're going to have a lot of chances to talk about. Let me just say that I like what I'm seeing here.
I'm interested in what I'm seeing.
It's interesting how I know that Ubisoft just kind of makes the same game over and over again a lot of times, but the aesthetic of ancient Egypt, which is where we are, where the first Assassins apparently were created or came to be, is a unique setting that we don't see a lot of in video games.
I will say that there were some things that were a little weird to me about this trailer, because the thing about Assassin's Creed is that they've always gone for that. While yes, the whole Assassins and Templars and the original race or whatever, that those elements are very fantastical or science fiction.
Yeah.
They never really went crazy with it. Like, it was always, everything still stayed in a realm of reality a little bit outside of outside of the things of you jumping off of high tall buildings or whatever,
right?
That's the only stuff that really seemed fantastical. And here, like, there's a few things in the trailers that kind of make me go, wait, what? Like, because like there's one point in the trailer where like this giant fucking snake, just like, I'm talking, when I say giant, I'm talking like, monstrous giant fucking snake. Also, there's another scene which we can talk about later or whatever, where he fucking shoots an arrow and then bends the arrow in the middle of the, like, curves it.
Yeah, like a Wanted style or Sniper
like Wanted
Elite
style.
Or Sniper Elite doesn't actually curve stuff, but
it's just, and because of that, like that kind of makes me go, so are they getting away from that?
See, the thing is that outside of the big snake, like the arrow bending, that to me seems like a gameplay consideration, right? Like, that's like hallucination dust or whatever. The giant snake, I think, could very well be like a hallucination or a dream sequence or something like that. But I don't know. Who knows? I mean, in the previous ones, we did have the fucking crazy predecessor tech stuff going on.
Yeah,
so maybe
true.
That's what that is.
Okay. No. I know. Like I said, I'm actually curious about this one, like, more so than I have been. I think I'm the most curious about this one since 3.
Right. So this one actually,
I just mean before I've ever actually played the game, I'm the most interested since 3. Because after 3, I couldn't give two shits about any of the games.
I like Black Flag and
Black
Rogue.
Flag was okay.
And
I didn't get to play Rogue because it was on previous gen, and then Syndicate was.
It was okay. But
I wanted to like it. After the abysmal piece of garbage that Unity was,
right.
I wanted to like Syndicate. Like, I was just in my mind, I was like, I want to like this game, therefore I'm going to play it.
Yeah.
But this actually has some things that interest me, like seeing some of the different things.
Yeah. First off, you can't have a Ubisoft game without drones, and since this is ancient Egypt, your drone is apparently a bird that somehow tells you where things are.
Yeah.
However that works.
Apparently, like, there is an upgrade for the bird that the bird can actually assassinate on its own.
Oh,
like,
sure.
You can actually tell it to assassinate something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
this whole sequence, I mean, like, it's just very Assassin's Creed. Like, you're sneaking in, there's guards on patrol. I think the main thing, is that you could take this sequence and reskin it with any other Assassin's Creed game, right? Like there's trees with the Y in them for you to jump through.
Yeah.
Little tree vajayjay.
There was a cool scene where he jumped from the tree and then it kind of slow-moed in air while he arrowed a guy in the head.
Yeah, and there's definitely like there's been a bunch of people talking about how there's like a leveling system and there's like gear that you can get that has different like powers and stuff.
They also changed the way combat works.
Yeah.
Like now they didn't use the word stamina, but there is a stamina system.
Okay.
But it's called something else.
Yeah.
And then also characters have hitboxes now. So how close you are when you hit someone also will affect how much damage it does.
So what you're telling me, John, is that Assassin's Creed is Dark Souls now.
No. That's without saying it, they actually almost came right out and said we took Dark Souls.
Oh, okay.
Approach to.
Hey, you know what? It's a great system. Hope they do it because I
mean, I don't think it's going to be as difficult as Dark Souls, but it's going to be that fighting style.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. I went back recently and played. It was like on our next to the last Sunday stream that we did when we played Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah.
Remember when we had Snackbox come out and fucking whoop my ass?
Goddamn Snapbox 20.
I remember that one of the things I loved about Shadow of Mordor is that Shadow of Mordor will whoop your ass.
Yeah.
Whereas like I never really felt super in danger. I get desynchronized or like blah 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 or something stupid will happen in Assassin's Creed, but like, you know, you just get overwhelmed in Shadow of Mordor, and in Assassin's Creed, it's been a long time since I felt any sense of real danger to the combat system, which is not 100% needed. It's just, you know, it makes you feel a little bit better about. It makes you feel like you're getting like it's more of a challenge, and then you get more out of it by having that. So we're gonna stick with this too much. I mean, it's a real nice little gameplay segment, little gameplay snippet. The combat system looks like it's interesting, like it's got some kind of a little bit more stuff going on in it, and that's cool. I just noticed that. Well, no, that's a level up bar. That's a stamina bar down at the bottom, a little yellow bar.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's
but
cool.
It's not called stamina.
Well, sure, it's vigor.
Yeah, I forget what they called it, but it's when I heard them say, I was like, you mean stamina bar?
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, everything out of this, great. You know, give it a shot. Give it a go. And I'm always interested in checking out game worlds that take place in a place that we don't normally get to see.
Yeah,
and that's what I feel like is good here. We'll talk a little bit more about it when Ubisoft comes around. So after that, we got PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds coming to the Xbox One.
Yeah, I'm actually it's a console launch exclusive.
Yep.
So which means that when it comes to consoles, it'll be exclusive for a limited time on the Xbox. Like I think it's even coming to the game preview program.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, we already knew this was happening. I find this trailer to be interesting because it's just so goddamn action-packed as opposed to every game of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds I've ever played, which was hide. I
was kind of waiting for a winner chicken dinner somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, so if you want to play, it was funny because I saw Jason post somewhere that, he was like, oh, shit, now I got to buy this for my Xbox One. And I think one of the guys from Modern Rogue was like, Jason, you own it on the PC already. He's like, yeah, but I'm not good at it on the PC. I want to play it on the console with all of the console plebeians so that I can actually have a chance at winning a game.
I actually am looking forward to it because I actually wouldn't mind playing it on a console. So
neither would I. We're going to have to get a little bit faster here because we're running a little bit behind. Deep Rock Galactic.
Is a game.
Dwarves, Minecraft, and hordes of enemies in deep mines, but you're Space Marine dwarves, and you got shotguns and grapples and weird graphics and shit. All they showed was a trailer that just showed a bunch of dwarves in space armor mining underground. We've entered the era of just like everybody wants to be the next Minecraft, nobody's going to be the next Minecraft, but we're not going to stop trying anyway. So sure. And the other thing was they made a big deal in the trailer for this at the beginning about being like, also it's in 4K, and it's like these graphics don't need to be in 4K, because it's a very stylized, blocky kind of graphic. But after that, we had State of Decay 2, which I feel like State of Decay 1 has gotten like this reputation that I don't know that it completely deserves. Like, I feel like State of Decay is on like the same ground as like Dying Light. It's like something that's fun, but like I've never gone back to State of Decay.
Yeah, I had friends that got really obsessed with it for a while, and then kind of fell off of it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong; it looks fine. It's just that there were a few people, you know. I never feel like I was at a point in my life where a new State of Decay trailer would be me typing State of Decay in all capital letters with a bunch of exclamation points over. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll play it. I mean, you know, the first one was fun. And this one looks good, you know, driving around with friends, zombies, set up a base, go out and kill some zombies, do some stuff.
Yeah, and it's the one that starts off with one voiceover and then like the character dies and then like it cuts over to a different voiceover.
Oh, I don't know. I do know that this is the one where it's like there's some guy where there's a scene of some guy fighting like a really big zombie and he gets his ass kicked and then this other character starts fighting that zombie.
Yeah, no, that's the same trailer.
Okay, and then she does like a dodge move, and I'm like, oh, that other guy, I guess he didn't know what the dodge button was because he just got killed.
Yeah, because, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, in State of Decay, where the one where it was like permadeath, where like if you died, you then had to respawn as another.
You move on to another person.
You move on to another person, and then you have to go back and get your stuff if you want
Was it that, or was that zombie?
That was Zombie U, I do know that, but I thought that State of Decay also did that as well.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, here's the thing. It looks good. It looks like a fun game. I just, you know, it's a zombie kind of survival, walking around doing stuff game, and that genre is not exactly something brand new that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
So, well, you know, whatever. Well, I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Next up, we had the Darwin Project.
Yeah, this one was weird because it had a guy screaming at us the entire time.
Yeah, it was like an
scream casting the entire thing.
It was an announcer. Apparently, this is going to be some kind of like third person. I feel like this is kind of the Xbox version of, or like a Team Fortress version of PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds.
Except it's like six people maps.
Yeah, it's like a 6-person multiplayer thing.
Yeah, so I did find out some information about it. Essentially, the way the game starts off is you're given like an axe, and then you're dropped into this area, and so you basically then have to scavenge for parts or scavenge for items and stuff in the world.
Yeah.
And the idea is that, you know, and then as the game goes on, the area that you have to be in gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But the other thing is that, like, if you go to an area that's already been scavenged, you can hit a inspect button and it'll tell you where that person is.
Okay.
So it's kind of one of those things. Do you spend time scavenging to get better equipment, or do you immediately find someone and kill them?
Right.
To eliminate them, kind of thing. So, but it's more, I would say, where PlayerUnknown is like this huge 100-person map and, you know, thing. This is more meant like the esport version of that.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. I don't know. It looks kind of cool. I feel like that at this point we have entered the new era, John, of PlayerUnknown Battleground clones.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if a thing does well, then everybody's got to make their own version. So this is probably the first of many multiplayer arena kind of
Battle
last man standing type of thing. But it looks good. It's got a kind of a Team Fortress vibe to it.
Yeah.
Next up, let's talk about Minecraft. Or let's not. Minecraft is going.
So
two things. There's two things. All the different regions are being merged. So if you're playing on Minecraft,
so also all platforms, with the exception of Sony, are able to play together. So whether you're on tablet, PC, Xbox One, or Nintendo Switch, you are all playing on the same server.
Did they specifically say Sony is not in there? Okay.
Well, they said they're trying to get Sony, but much like with Rocket League,
sure,
because that's something else. Apparently, Sony does not want to involve cross-platform.
Sure,
they are very against it when it comes to Microsoft and Nintendo, because whatever. But yeah, so they're saying that it'll be cross-platform, all on the same servers.
Yeah.
They're hoping to get Sony at some point in the future, but can't come to an agreement. The thing that I was weirded about is because they've made this big deal about the Xbox One X and about how they were doing a high-definition pack or expansion or 4K pack. But the thing is that pack is available on all versions of the Xbox. So you don't even need the Xbox One X to get that.
Sure.
but it'll just look better on the Xbox One X.
Yeah, it looks like a better lighting engine, slightly better graphics.
But apparently it looks really good even on a regular Xbox or an Xbox One S.
Sure. Well, it's not exactly like Minecraft's a fucking... Like, if you did something to Minecraft that only worked on the Xbox One X, then you're doing something wrong, because Minecraft is like... It's like a Java game. It's got, like, nothing. It's just bullshit.
And they apparently did make some changes, like, for example, like, you know how in the original game, like, the rails that your cart would be on were very, like, 2D looking? Well, now they're actually three-dimensional sprites. There are things that were only two-dimensional that are now full three-dimensional now.
Huzzah.
So it's,
I don't know.
They're making it look better for some reason.
Great.
I don't feel like you need to make Minecraft look better. It just needs to be Minecraft.
Minecraft is Minecraft, and I'm not playing it, and I don't know. It's... You could do whatever you want to Minecraft. I feel like it's still going to be Minecraft. Like,
I feel like there's not much else they can do with it at this point.
Oh, I beg to differ. Apparently those skin packs are still a thing where they've just like...
I mean, outside of like skin packs and texture packs and fucking making it look, 4K, high resolution, super duper anti-aliasing and lighting and all that fun stuff, there's not really much else you could do with Minecraft.
Sure. I tell you what else you can't do that much with. Sorry, folks, I'm starting to run down a little bit here. That's Dragon Ball Z.
Hey, there's a Dragon Ball Z Fighter made by the same people who make the Guilty Gear games, which,
Arc System Works.
Yeah, Arc System Works. You've said it, like they're the only company that's made a cell shaded video game, 3D video game that actually you like.
Yeah, because they are able to make it look like 2D in spite of the fact that it's 3D. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on in this trailer. I don't know what any of it means. It's just a bunch of crazy monsters.
It's essentially just a fighting game. It's a one-on-one fighting game like Guilty Gear, except it's with the Dragon Ball Z characters.
Okay.
So it's called Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Cool.
So,
crazy.
I think that's all. In all honesty, for your average Dragon Ball fan, that's all you need to tell them.
Sure.
It's a fighting game. It's called Dragon Ball FighterZ, and it's coming out soon.
Yeah. Next, Black Desert is an MMO that's already out on the PC. It's one of those like Chinese MMOs or Korean MMOs, and it looks. I mean, again, don't get me wrong.
It looks interesting, but it's like the entire time watching, I'm going, "This is an MMO, isn't it?"
Yeah,
it's an MMO. Like at one point, I was like, "Is this like Dragon's Dogma or something?" And then I was like, "No, it's an MMO."
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have much to say about this. Apparently, I was looking at some of the reviews on the Steam release of it, and they were like, "This is one of those MMOs where you either have to pay or you are going to have to grind every single day for years to get anywhere in the game." And it's just like, yay! I mean, it's funny because the trailer makes it look all like super action packed and everything, but I'm sure it just takes forever to get to the point where it's super action packed. Let's see. Next up, we have. A bit of controversy. So, all right, let's talk about this. Let's not get too far. I have a few things. The last night.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is.
It looks like stylized. It looks like a full 3D rendered version of, say,
like Flashback.
Flashback.
Yeah.
But kind of has like, and then like has like they put it in the Blade Runner universe.
It's really interesting because everything is pixelated, but it's got a real sense of depth to it. Like they're using blurring and like depth of field to like push back. And I read a little bit about it where it's apparently like it's in the future and everybody like has their basic needs met, and then our protagonist is like, "But I want more," or some bullshit like that. I think that this trailer is one of the more beautiful things that I've seen.
It's a very interesting looking trailer
in the thing. Now, there is a bit of controversy that we should talk about briefly.
Yeah.
The guy who made this was kind of pro Gamergate 3 years ago and said
hardcore pro Gamergate 3 years ago.
Hardcore pro Gamergate. Not really a big fan of the whole feminism thing. I don't really want to go too far into this because I found that this particular topic, all it really does is just piss off everybody.
Yeah, it does.
Like it just pisses off every single human being. All I'm going to say is that this is an opportunity for the audience listener to say, can you divorce the artist from their art?
Yeah. Having said that, he did come out and say, "Hey, I understand those tweets were from 3 years ago. I realized that I made a lot of stupid decisions and I was a fucking idiot back then, and my mind has been changed on a lot of things since then.
Yeah.
And I've grown as a person, and I'm not that person anymore. So please judge me by who I am today, not the idiot that I was back then. I apologize for those remarks. Some people have come out and said that, well, not less than a year ago you were saying some pretty messed up stuff still, but
he made some shitty comments about one of the segments on the Bill Nye and Netflix series that had to do with gender identity, and so people are like, well, you said you changed, but here you are like 6 months ago saying this stuff. In any case, whether or not this is one of those things, this is a perfect opportunity for you, the audience, and I can't tell anybody one way or the other, is we have art that is made by, if you go back in time, they're like, don't ever look into the background of like 70s rock legends, because a lot of them did some fucked up shit. Like, in any case, some people have said that, like, hey, if you believe in this stuff, that you got to stick to your principles and not buy this game because this guy's a scumbag. Some people said you give him a chance. Let's see if he's turned around. He said he's changed his mind. The game apparently, according to him, has nothing to do whatsoever with any of that stuff, and Microsoft apparently, or the company, somebody between him and them, apparently has his back in a statement where they're like, we don't see this guy acting real shitty when we have contact with him. So you got to make up your own mind on this. I don't really know. I'd really rather not get into a thing that's going to make everybody in the comment section start fighting each other. But
having said that, the trailer looks pretty.
Yeah, it does look real pretty.
And if I'm not mistaken, he's not the only one working on the game. So I'm willing. He may be the director or the lead focus of it, but there were other people that were involved with this game, and you got to also decide, on that as well. I don't like Phil Fish, but I'll still play Fez. Yeah. I don't like. I don't like Adi Shankar, but I still love the movie Dread.
Can you watch The Cosby Show anymore? ? I don't know. There's a lot of this is a problem. Can you watch Roman Polanski's movies and not get all weirded out because he's done some fucked up shit? This is a creator versus art thing, and it's a question that I've never heard anybody.
Each person has to answer individually.
Yes, I've never heard anybody make a blanket statement that I felt like applied to everything. Even the people that I'm rattling off right now have done far worse things than just be shitty on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I don't know. ? I'm too old. You guys just keep it clean in the comments, all right? Don't fucking make me go in there. I'll tell you what's not controversial, though, that I could say that I do want without any particular caveats or anything, and that is the Artful Escape.
Yes, I'd heard about this game a little while back.
Did you?
Yeah, like I can't remember what it was, but I saw an article on on Kotaku about it a long time ago, and like their article told me about as much information as this trailer gives.
Yeah, it's like some guy, he's in glasses, he's got a hipster like sweater on, and then he's in a spacesuit. Now he's got a guitar. Now he's platforming with a guitar, and all the while there's like fucking crazy music going on, and he's on a ship. The ship has this fucking sparkle.
He slowly turns into David Bowie or something.
Yeah, I don't know what this is, but I want to play the shit out of it. Like,
we need more games where the protagonist has a fucking guitar. I'm just gonna say we need Brutal Legend 2. But I'm just saying this game I am totally for.
Yeah,
it seems quirky enough that it might be fun.
This is one of those things where I go, quirk it up, and I will, as you know. This is the perfect opportunity to basically kind of lay out my own Jeff life philosophy, and that's if you show me a thing I ain't never seen before, I'm going to be interested in it. If you show me some crazy shit, I'm going to be like, yes, let's take a look at that crazy shit, because who knows. From there, we saw another trailer for Code Vein from the Bandai Namco kind of vampire future anime Souls ? Ish. I don't know. Some people were saying that they'd seen that this had some kind of combat things in common with the Souls franchise.
People have been referring to it as anime Souls.
Yeah, I don't know. This trailer could literally be for a good game, a bad game, or an indifferent game. Like, it's just a bunch of anime people jumping around, blasting on vampires, and blood's coming out. It looks nice. It's got a good art style. It could be garbage. I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I agree.
There's no way to know.
Until it comes out.
Yep, I'll play it when it comes out. It's got some big bosses, got a lady in a Russian hat, and some vampire shit, and great. From there, we spent quite a bit of time with Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. Still looks fun.
Yeah, looks real fun. We got to see a little bit of blasting on skeletons with the blunderbuss and guns and such. Even though
you ate a banana?
Yep. You eat a banana.
Completely wrong.
You could get into a cannon and get shot elsewhere.
Yeah, I thought that was actually a lot of fun.
There's a treasure map. You can hold it up and follow the directions and find yourself a treasure. I feel like there's nothing that they're telling us about Sea of Thieves that we didn't already know. It's going to be a 4-player online pirate game where you get your friends together, drive on a pirate ship, sing shanties, get treasure.
I look forward to the day that we can get a Rage Select Sea of Thieves game going.
100%. If it was out now, I would be playing it instead of doing this podcast. I don't like. Yeah, it's fine. I'm a sucker for pirates.
Pirates seem to be the thing right now.
I'm a sucker for a pirate game. I like
it's a pirate life for you.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing here.
Yo ho ho,
shanties and grogs, and I like the end, especially when they get they get a chest and they bring it back, and then they're having a fight with another ship, and
the guy jumps in the
guy loads himself up in a cannon and blasts himself over to the other ship,
and then just starts wrecking fools on that other ship.
Yep, wrecks a bunch of fools, and he goes to jump back to his own ship, and whoopsie daisy, and then a shark eats his face off.
And then his friends in his ship sail off into the distance. And the shark eats him.
Yep, great, wonderful. Put it in my hand, Microsoft. You don't need to convince me anymore. You had me from the very first teaser trailer. Show me where to put my money, and I will put it, and then give me that game. From there, we're getting into like some very brief.
Yeah, didn't they show off like Tacoma?
Yeah, this is Tacoma, which is the game from the Fulbright company that looks like Gone Home on a Space Station, sort of. No shade, I'll play it. Just it's been around for a long, long time. So you're not really showing me much more than what I already know.
I think they gave it the
release date of August 2nd.
I think that was the new thing. Like I feel like that has actually kind of been the mantra of this year has been, you already know about these games. Here's the release date.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, this is a little bit of a surprise. So this is Super Lucky's Tale.
Yeah, everyone who saw this thought it was Conquer at first because it's got that like the character, aside from being a fox and not a squirrel, has the exact same color scheme, palette, and look of Conquer from Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
But we all know, John, that Conquer's Bad Fur Day is going to be specific to Project Spark, right? Oh wait.
Yeah.
There is no Project Spark. So I don't know how many people actually know this, but this is, I think, a sequel to Lucky's Tale, which is an Oculus game, where you basically are looking down, with your VR headset at Lucky platforming, and it actually works out really well. The camera kind of tracks with them. I think that's a really great implementation of VR, but apparently it did well enough that this company is making a standalone thing. This is like a cute little platformer. You know?
It's very cute. I actually liked what I saw. It that had an onion farting.
Yep.
Which was weird. But then you have this character jumping around with his cape, superhero cape, and
his little friends, and he's a fox, and he's cute. And you know what? I'll say right now, I talked a lot of shit on the last podcast about that asinine new fucking Bubsy trailer. This looks like I would play this game. That new Bubsy game looks like fucking Dookie on the street. And this looks like a
this
video
looks like
game.
A lot of fun. I actually liked the way it looked. And that's another thing I really liked about the Microsoft conference is that there was a wide range of games.
Sure.
Like there wasn't just all like high action AAA title. They showed a little bit of everything.
A lot of indies. A lot more indies than I would have expected.
Because, there were none at Sony. But that's for us to talk about later.
Well, yeah. After that, we basically got Cuphead, and we got a release date.
No, we didn't. Are you sure it was Cuphead? Okay.
Well, maybe I got this in the wrong order. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So,
I just skipped
Cuphead,
a little bit for
because it was really short. It was just showing the release date for it, really.
Yeah.
Which, that's all really anyone wanted.
Yeah.
Was the release date. September 29th. Finally, for fuck's sake. After how many fucking years?
Like 4.
Yeah. So I I think it's going to be a fun game. I'm looking forward to it. Do I think it's going to be the greatest fucking game ever in the history of anything? No.
Probably not.
Probably not, but I think it'll be fun.
For those of you who have forgotten, Cuphead is the basically like 1930s animation style platformer game.
Yeah, but it actually looks like you're watching an animation from that.
Yeah.
Like the style of it and everything. It looks really, really cool.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think it's going to look better than it plays.
Probably.
But I still want to play it. So September 29th, I'm for it.
As I said, if you give me something that's new and different that I ain't never seen before, I'll at least give it a shot. I'll at least check it out and then just go, okay, well, that was cool, but I'm done with it now. And then finally, actually, this one was a little strange to me, okay? Of all the games that I expected to see more of, I expected to see more of Crackdown 3 than we actually saw.
Yeah.
Because this was basically just Terry Crews yelling at the screen, talking about how much Crackdown is awesome, and you're blowing stuff up, and stuff is getting blown up. And
well, he's playing a character.
Yeah.
That has apparently been created specifically for him in this game.
But what about Doomfist? You're putting Doomfist in Crackdown? Come on.
Oh, he's not Doomfist.
Maybe he is. Maybe he's both.
Oh, he could be both.
Everything. Maybe he's in every video game.
Oh, man.
What if he's with that second in command to the Star Wars lady and
oh, shit.
Battlefront 2? What? The Emperor's dead!
Let's go in there and ram them lifesavers up, their asses,
I love it whenever Terry Crews shows up in any place in anything because he's just got a lot of energy and he's like...
Oh, he's great.
He's fun. So then we actually got to see a trailer for Crackdown 3.
Yeah, well, this was part of the trailer, but yeah, then after that, it showed actual footage. It seems like they are not doing that big destructibility thing that they announced 2 years ago.
Oh, with the cloud, where we were using the power of the cloud.
Yeah, I think they dropped that.
I don't know. There was some destruction, right?
There was some construction, but from what I've read of people who are actually I know a lot of websites actually got some hands-on with it.
Right.
They've gotten rid of it. It's not destruction on the level that they tried to claim previously. Some stuff is destructible, but not everything.
What I find fascinating about this is that this is a real generic trailer.
It is.
It just doesn't show me to be
I also
honest,
feel like the graphics are a little to be desired.
Well, so here's the thing. I never played any of the Crackdown, so I don't have any pre-existing hype for it, right? So this is Crackdown 3 has to stand on its own 2 feet in my excitement.
I have played all the Crackdown games, and I'm a fan of them.
Okay. But for my money, I look at this, and it reminds me, and I know it's not exactly the same, but it reminds me an awful lot of Agents of Mayhem. And Agents of Mayhem has had some trailers that have gotten me just all ready to go.
Well, the problem is, and this is actually where I think the biggest problem is, and this is the problem that Crackdown is going to have, is because originally when they showed that previous trailer and said that everything is going to be destructible, every single building, every little thing can be destroyed because of the power of cloud computing and all that.
Right.
That was different because Saints Row 4 did Crackdown better than Crackdown. That whole thing with the superpowers and the collecting orbs and that's fucking Crackdown. That was a complete ripoff of Crackdown. Unabashedly a ripoff of Crackdown. But it was fucking great.
Yeah.
Here, they're like, well, we couldn't do the cloud thing, so we're gonna go back to giving you just more Crackdown. And I don't know if that holds up.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm a little bit worried.
I guess, so this, I was thinking about it, and I think that I pinpointed. The reason this trailer isn't doing a shitload for me is because I'm not getting any story out of it. This trailer was just a montage of things exploding. And
that's the thing, is that Crackdown 1 and 2, there's not a lot of story.
See,
there is a story.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the focus of the games. Literally, the first Crackdown game is, hey, there's a city that's been taken over by these 3 drug lords. We're a company a group called the Agency, and we've been tasked with taking them out and being the new police force. You're an agent that's been strategically, genetically engineered to take these people down. Go do it. And literally, you can go take on any one of the gangs you want. It doesn't matter. You can take them down in any way you want. You can go straight for the head of the gang, or you can work your way up to the head of the gang. It's however you want to do it.
Right.
And then you collect these orbs to upgrade yourself and your vehicles, and it's and then there's a small twist at the end of the game. And by twist, I mean like there's a line of dialogue that turns the entire game on its head. And then the game ends. And then the second game takes place a little bit later. And it turns out some shit has happened. There's now mutants in the city. The city's a little bit bigger. Some time has passed. But guess what? The agency's created a new genetically engineered agent, and they're sending it out to go do the exact same thing that it did in the first game. And you find out a little bit more story, but there's not really a whole lot.
See, because if Saints Row 4 had a bad story, then it wouldn't have been nearly as memorable, because the gameplay was like just a destruction sandbox, but then you had this crazy, I would never remember a character like Shondi from any other game, but the fact that Keith David is in that game and fucking
again, that's my point, is that they're going to have a hard time because Saints Row 4 took everything that made Crackdown 1 and 2 great.
Yeah.
With the exception of the multiplayer, because that's actually the big thing that Crackdown has really been known for, is basically putting you in this world where you can then play together with other people,
right,
and then doing crazy shit in that game.
Okay.
Like, that's kind of been the thing. Like, the story has never been the focus of Crackdown. Also, weirdly, that I noticed, I can't remember who it was in the first trailer, but the company, the production company that was listed in the first trailer is different than the one listed in this trailer.
Okay.
I don't know if they just changed their name or if they handed off to a different group, and that's why they dropped the cloud based computing thing, and it doesn't look quite as good as it should. But I'm excited for Crackdown 3 because I love the Crackdown 3 games, but I'm also I'm a little worried because, like we've said, Saints Row 4 out Crackdown and had a great compelling story with it.
Well, here's the other thing, is that as far as Microsoft exclusive, this is the one.
Yeah.
Like, this is the big one that people are still, that when we think of like console exclusive, like Microsoft made franchises that they brought out, right? You released Halo, you released Gears of War, you released Halo Wars 2, you canceled Scalebound and canceled Phantom Dust. Like, this is one of those ones, and I feel like it should have had a bigger place. I feel like it should have had a demo where they got up on stage and showed us. They should have had Terry Crews there to play the game in front of people and show everybody all the cool shit you can do in Crackdown to get us excited, because I got to tell you, for me, a person who is not familiar with the Crackdown series, a montage of explosions does not interest me in a game, because just about any game can have a montage of explosions, and you can go, okay, find a good song, capture a bunch of footage of crazy shit happening, line it all up to the beat, go, right? That's not a hard trailer to make. I can make that trailer for Mario Kart. I can make that trailer for fucking Rage Select. So I need more of a reason, and after it being MIA last year, it really, I feel like, should have had a more prominent role this year.
I feel like they don't want people to ask about the full destruction environment cloud computing thing.
They're going to find out.
So they're trying to underplay it and just hope that people forget that it was a big selling point on the last trailer.
Gamers don't fucking forget that
They
shit.
don't. They really, really don't.
You know what?
This was another one of my worries and complaints from the whole thing. But like I said, it's Crackdown, so I'm going to fucking play it, because Crackdown has always just been really super fun to play.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out. I'm not really super excited about it. Anyway, we had a montage of games here. I'm just going to list this off because we're starting to run a little bit late. Osiris, New Dawn, Raiders of the Broken Planet, Unruly Heroes, Path of Exile, Battle Right, Surviving Mars, Fable Fortune, Observer, Robocraft Infinity, Dunk Lords, one of the better titles in there, Minion Masters, Brawl Out, Ooblets, Dark and Light, Strange Brigade, River Bond, Hello Neighbor, Shift, and Conan Exiles are all coming to the ID at Xbox program. Some of those are out already. A lot of them are out on the PC in early access. We've played some of them. It's a nice grouping of games. It's just, I don't know how many of these are brand spanking new and how many of them are just ports of PC games that have already been out for a while. From there, we got an interesting trailer for Ashen. I don't know if we've seen this game before.
Last year we saw it.
Did we? Okay.
They premiered it last year because everyone thought it looked very Dark Souls.
Okay, because it still looks very Dark Souls. And it's like kind of very angular, dark, broody. Nobody has faces in it.
Except for like the dude with the mustache.
Yeah, well, he's got a mustache, but he's got no eyes or mouth or anything. It looks cool. I think that this is the same thing I said last year. Looks cool. Let me play it. I mean, I need more information, or you will need to let me play it. And that's about all I got.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Life is Strange, the prequel 3-episode Before the Storm, which, as near as I could tell from watching like another stream, you don't have any time powers in it. It's just
also, if I'm not mistaken, like all the voice actresses and people, the voice actors, are not coming back. Like, it's all different voice actors.
Well,
like, I know, because Ashley Birch did the voice of the main character in the first game.
Well, this is about this. I don't know if you probably don't know because you didn't play it, but the girl in this is the girl with the blue hair, not the main character from Life is Strange.
Well, I'm just saying, like, but yeah, like, this is. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've heard some weird things. Like, didn't someone, and I could entirely be wrong, that this is even made by a different studio or by a different team? I think the team that made the original is making basically a sequel. I think they're making Vampire.
Are they? Oh, okay. Well, in any case, I don't know. I mean, this looks a lot like Life is Strange, but I can say that Life is Strange seemed interesting because there were fucking time powers in it.
Yeah.
This just looks like, I actually watched a bit of a stream for this, and it was like, this just looks like a Telltale game about a coming-of-age story about a girl. Nothing wrong with that, but I usually like a little bit more, like, time powers in my game, as opposed to, like, there was a whole sequence about, like, oh man, she went to this rock and roll show or this punk rock show, this underground punk rock show with like a friend of hers, and I don't know, they might be crushing on each other, and then these guys threatened them, and they ran away, and then they jumped on a train, and they went to a junkyard, and one girl was angry, and they were having a conversation, and I'm just like, yeah, this is the part of Life is Strange that made me not want to play Life is Strange in the first place, because I was just like, I really don't want to watch 16-year-old girls have, like, feelings about stuff. That's not really why I come to video games, John.
Yeah. It's also weird to me that there's two different versions of the title. There's one that says Life is Strange, and then behind the is the anarchy symbol.
Yeah.
And then the other one, it says Life is Strange, and the anarchy symbol is replacing the A in Strange. It's like, just come up with one uniform title, guys. Don't do that. It's just more confusing.
John, it's anarchy, John. It's total anarchy. We don't know what's going on. Life is too strange. It's too strange, motherfucker. See, that's how I don't feel like we're going to get any of that.
No.
Any of that energy in Life is Strange. From there, we got to see some Middle-earth Shadow of War.
Bruce!
Which is, oh my God, Middle-earth Shadow of War is just really doing it for me.
Bruce!
Yes, we got to see Bruce, B-R-U-Z, one of the most well-spoken orc giants I've ever seen.
I fucking love this character, especially with the moment where, like, you fight him, and he even has personality when you're about to fight him, or like when you're watching him, like, as like he has like this personality, and then like you mind control him to get him to your side, and then just like the way that was done was fucking genius.
Oh, it's so good because you hit him with the magic fist or with the magic hand and convert him, and it's not like he's like, you just do it. He's like, Dark Lord, Light Lord, whatever, man.
It's all the same.
Yeah. Like, all right, I'll work for you. Like, it's the most easy breezy, mind control I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, this guy was great. Like, I hope that this he just tore off the other guy's head. This franchise, I fucking love it. Like,
it's very clear that in this one they're just saying fuck continuity. We're going to do whatever we want, which I'm okay with.
Oh, sure, absolutely. This looks real fun. I hope. See, here's the thing: is that somebody in the chat room when we were watching this was like, this looks so scripted, man. I bet like it's not all like this. And I was like, you know what? For any other video game, I'd be totally on board with you. But I thought all that shit was scripted in Shadow of Mordor, and then I fucking played it for Sunday streaming and got into a vendetta with an orc who followed me around the map until I finally managed to chop his head off the 4th time.
I wonder if Snackbox is going to come back in this game. Like, you're going to play this game and suddenly Snackbox just appears.
I've never played a game where the radiant procedural generation created a nemesis for me out of nowhere, and he just kept showing up with his like he didn't ever say anything. He was just like grinning. So until they prove me wrong, I think this one's going to be great. I think this is going to be another just fucking like banner breakout game. because it looks like everything from Shadow of Mordor, except now you get to have an army full of orcs that are all. I hope that like you remember how many orcs there were in Shadow of Mordor that all had a fair personality to them. Like they didn't have a huge amount of personality, but like they had some. And yeah, this was great. And then from here, after
you get him to your side,
converting Bruise. He's so chatty. There's like a ton of dialogue with this guy.
Like it feels like all of the orcs are really chatty. Like there's like they even show you like a little bit later like one like just like vendetta attacks you or whatever, and it's just like super fucking chatty. Like he just grabs you and just starts talking a storm. It's like I hope they're not all that chatty.
Yeah, like he's got this is push crimp the machine.
Yeah, he's like, you thought you killed me, but I'm back. They replaced my body with robot parts, and I'm back, and I'm gonna kill you because I'm back, and you thought you killed me. I'm gonna kill you now.
Yeah,
and it's just like, whoa, dude, calm your roll.
Yeah. Anyway, so and then at the very end, they kind of put together an army to attack this two-headed troll. And that's kind of where it ends up. But you know what? I have not seen a single thing yet for Middle of Earth that made me think it's going to be bad.
Yeah, no, I'm totally on board.
I mean, in this particular demo, the graphics are they're not super fantastic, but they're definitely
good enough.
Good. They're good enough for the game. So it might just be because it's very much in the daytime, too. From there, speaking of graphics that'll make you want to stab yourself in the face, we got a trailer for a new Ori and the Blind Forest game.
Brought the feelings.
You call it Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and it's basically looks like we like one of the birds, because wasn't the big bird, the big owl was like the antagonist in Ori and the Blind Forest, like that got the last of the tree spirit energy or something, and then but this looks super good. I mean, it looks
like it's going to bring all the feels.
Yeah, I don't know. I get a little bit tired of that. I'm just like, all right, fine. It was sad in the first one, but they literally showed us the beginning of the game.
It looks twice as sad now, Jeff.
Fine. Yeah.
The sadness has been increased.
It's little bird and it's little monkey Muppet.
It's Ori.
Yeah. It's fine. Looks good though. I mean, Ori and the Blind Forest was fucking fun as hell. Like,
yeah,
I like playing it all quite a bit.
They had dude on stage playing a piano.
Yeah. But no waterfalls. No waterfalls. So lose.
Well, Jeff, you don't go chasing waterfalls. Like it's just what? Just don't.
Two more quick things, and then we're going to be done here. So first, something that I know that John was really, really interested in, and I actually have a fair amount of interest in this as well.
I actually even have some information that wasn't even talked about in the thing.
Great. Original Xbox compatibility on the Xbox One.
Yes. So right now they said that they are going to be launching OG Xbox compatibility. The only game they've announced is Crimson Skies, which is a great game. Sure. I actually own it. It's awesome.
The PC version's better?
Probably, yeah. So anyways, they're basically... Crimson Skies is also backwards compatible on the Xbox 360, so you can play it on Xbox 360, but now it's also going to be backwards compatible on the Xbox One. And they also said that other games in the future they're going to add more, which I'm sure that... I kind of feel like they're doing this as a way to go, and we can give them away as a gold reward game,
sure.
Free games. It's more games that we can get out there. But the other cool thing is that if you have an original Xbox, an Xbox 360, and an Xbox One all on the same network, and you have 3 copies of the game, you can actually system link all 3 of those consoles and play Crimson Skies against each other in multiplayer.
Okay. That's a ridiculous scenario.
It is a ridiculous scenario. I understand that.
It's a completely ridiculous scenario.
But what I love about it is the interview that I read. So he was explaining, he's like, so if you wanted to set up like a large scale LAN, because the original Crimson Skies and the original Xbox could do through System Link up to 8 consoles, I think it was.
Okay.
2 players per console could play split screen, up to 8 consoles. I could be wrong on that number. And basically they're saying you can do that here, and you can do it across platforms. So if you have an OG Xbox, an Xbox 360, Xbox One, as long as you have the disc for all 3 of those consoles, you can system link them and play online, which I think is really, really cool. But they asked him, they're like, isn't that a bit ridiculous? Like who in there, like the interviewer was like, who would do that? And he's like, probably no one, but the fact that you can do it is really cool to us, so we did it.
Right.
Which I actually kind of appreciate that that's their mentality of no one will probably do this, but it's there.
Yeah. All I know is that there are like 3 original Xbox games I never got a chance to play that I'd like to play.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat room, I feel like, was like, oh man, I can finally play KOTOR again. And I'm just like, what the fuck? KOTOR's on phones now. You play KOTOR on your Android. You don't need an Xbox backwards compatibility.
Yeah. They also announced that they're going to be releasing the original Xbox, the giant fucking controller that they had that everyone hated for the original Xbox.
Yeah.
They're releasing a compatible one for the Xbox One.
Fuck off, Microsoft. Jesus God.
So that if you wanted to play these original Xbox games on an original Xbox, you can.
Huzzah! Whoa! Glory day! I could go. Yeah, I don't care.
So
that's the reason I didn't want an Xbox, is because the fucking controllers were too big.
I preferred the Xbox the S controller, which is the smaller one.
Yeah.
But
I don't know anybody who's like, oh man, my hands are just way too big.
I mean,
I got big hands over here.
I do have some affinity for it because, me and my friends nicknamed the controller the Bear because of a Penny Arcade strip where they're like, we've replaced Gabe's Xbox controller with a bear. Let's see if he notices.
Oh.
And then he's like, is this one of those new smaller controllers? So that's just a running gag with me and my friends. So I do have a loving affinity for that original controller.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited because I want more OG Xbox games to be available and especially games I don't have to rebuy, because if I have one issue with games that are getting re-released for new consoles is having to rebuy them.
Sure. Oh yeah. Let's not get started on like Skyrim.
Yeah.
There is somebody on Rage Select. He posts his guests, or she, I don't know, who wants me to play a Togi so bad.
I know why, but yeah.
So bad. And
no.
if that's available and I don't have to go to a store and buy an original Xbox, I could just load my Xbox One, go to the store and get it for $10. I'll play it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go out of my way to go get... It'd be like if somebody wanted me to play a Dreamcast game. Like, I appreciate the sentiment, but I'm just not going to go acquire an old console to play an old game that may or may not hold up.
Yeah.
But I'd be interested in playing that game. It seems kind of interesting.
Yeah, if it got released on Xbox One, both digitally and physical, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that there are going to be games that I own for the original Xbox that I can just pop the disc in and it'll work on my Xbox One. So it's. I'm totally. I think it's a great idea. People are right. Not very many people will use. I think someone did an analysis of how many people actually use the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility, and it's like such a small user base that it's cost effective wise. It's probably not worth it.
Sure.
But I love the fact that I have that ability.
Yeah. No, it's whenever there's a thing to play from that generation, I play it on the Xbox One. Because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that most of the time on the previous generation, the 360 did it a little bit better. I mean, there are some PS3 exclusive games that I feel like worked better on the PS3, but the Xbox 360 had a leg up for a long time with performance compatibility. So yeah, anyway, I mean, it doesn't cost anything and whatever. I do, though, take your point, and I've been thinking about that a lot myself, about like, is that, as much as people are vocal about it, is that really a system seller? Is that really a thing where you're like, the most important thing to me is being able to put in any game from the past generation and play it that I want to? Because I think it's a thing that people like to think is important, but I don't know how many people are actually actively playing their old 360 games.
And like I said, I just thought it was interesting that that I think it was actually fucking Spencer that actually went, I don't think anyone will ever use it, but it's cool to think that it's there.
Yeah.
Like it's like they know that it's not going to get a lot of use.
Yeah.
But they think it's cool, so they're going to fucking do it. Like,
sure.
I kind of like that.
Sure. Yeah. And
and it probably costs them nothing.
It's probably an internal thing. They probably figured out that like if they can emulate the Xbox 360, then they can emulate the Xbox 360's emulation of the Xbox One, pull out some of the 360 stuff in the middle and streamline it, and then just it's an update. It's an update that you can sell more shit on the store. So why not?
Exactly.
And last but not least, as we talked about in the EA one, we are seeing the full-on trailer for Anthem here.
Anthem, yeah.
Which is the new BioWare game. So,
we found out where all the special face animation went for BioWare.
we found out where all of the science fiction stuff went. This trailer looks beautiful. It's so much better looking than Mass Effect was. Like, this is on the same platform that Mass Effect was on. The lighting looks better. The people look better. The faces look amazing. Like, if they honestly, I need somebody to point me to an article that confirms this from the horse's mouth, but because I don't like to just assume. The assumption when you look at this is like, okay, they put the B team on Mass Effect and made a shitty game while the A team was working on this, and they diverted resources that should have gone into Mass Effect to make Anthem
no.
instead.
Kotaku did an article. Like, there's nothing, like, they don't name names because everyone wanted to be anonymous.
Right.
But it pretty much confirms. They didn't give it to the B team, by the way.
Oh.
They gave it to the C team.
Oh.
They gave Mass Effect to the C team.
Okay.
And then people started leaving the company.
Yeah.
And they didn't refill the outside of like putting a new director. Like, I think they changed like directors of that game like 3 times. And then like animation people from animation like would fire or get quit, and they wouldn't refill those positions. So like, and apparently the 5 years that they were working on Mass Effect Andromeda, they were only actually working on the game for 2 of them.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because what I'm seeing here from the same company looks dramatically better. The graphics are of a dramatically higher quality.
Yeah.
This seems to be some kind of weird ass world where like people are inside of an area that keeps them safe from a bunch of monsters that live outside in the world. You got a kind of a weird like marketplace thing. Again, I'm looking at this thing where this guy walks up and he's talking to you, and his expressions are what I would expect out of a AAA video game. From there, okay, let's just stop this for a second. I need to know if there's a single-player campaign in here, because a lot of the emphasis in this trailer is on how
it's Destiny.
You can play with all your friends, and it's that fake voice comms bullshit where you got your mech suit and your super gun and your laser, and you can fly around, and there's a raid. And
everything I've heard about it from people who have had interviews with them and everything, it's a game in the same vein of Destiny or The Division.
Well, to be perfectly honest, dude, fuck that shit, man. Like, you shortchanged me on a franchise that I really like in order to make a competitor to a franchise that I'm like about. Like, I'm just not that into so far these co-op experiences. Like, I played Destiny by myself for the most part. Like, I played a couple of raids with other people, but I played it for the most part by myself. So if that's what this game is, then like, goddamn. I mean, just like, fuck off, BioWare. Like, I didn't like Dragon Age Inquisition. I couldn't get into Mass Effect Andromeda, and if this is just going to be some fucking Destiny clone, then fuck off. Like, I'm not interested in any of those.
If you actually think about it, everything you said about this game, humanity is in a city that has like a market, and then you go outside of that city and you fight monsters.
Yep.
And you can play. It's a persistent world where you see other people online when you're playing. Also, you can play with your friends. It's fucking Destiny.
Well, yes, what I just described is Destiny, but the thing is that it doesn't have to be Destiny.
No, I agree.
Right? Like, that could definitely be something else. Like, if they're actually taking the time to craft a single player storyline that you can play with your friends or not play with your friends, okay, that's one thing. But I'm tired. I don't want this to be one of those things where you're really just not supposed to play it by yourself. You're supposed to play it with people and blah, blah, blah. And if that's the case, then I'll probably play it, and then I'll lose interest, and then I'll go fucking play something else, because I'm not a big, huge multiplayer gamer. And especially if they're doing Destiny, where, the thing about Destiny is that Destiny is set up for this like long-term like grinding and new raids and trying to get equipment and trying to get ranked up to do this next thing. I'm not interested in playing one game forever. I'm not a monogamous gamer, John. I want to play all the games. So if a game is asking me for an eternal commitment where I'm just going to have to play this game. This is what I love so much about Overwatch, is that I can just go back and play Overwatch whenever I want to. There's no like leveling up persistent system where I have to keep up, or I can't play with my friends anymore like with an MMO, right? Is I could just go fucking play Destiny whenever Overwatch whenever I want to. Anyway, let's say some good. I'm going to say some good stuff here. This game looks very nice.
Oh no, it looks great. Like it looks like beautifully. It looks very beautiful. There's I really like the environments. I like the fact that that if you can actually you can fly, and it looks like you can actually go to anything you can see.
Yeah.
So it's huge.
I like mech suits a lot.
Yeah.
I like being Iron Man. Being Iron Man is a fun thing.
Weird bear-looking creatures.
Yep.
A lot of bears this year.
A lot of bears in E3 this year.
Bears and pirates.
The jungle looks real nice.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is actual gameplay, like, I know that Frostbite can look really, really good. So, looks pretty fun. The combat is what we see of the combat. I feel like is so-so. Looks like it's kind of just a third-person blasting game with some pop-up special, type of thing going on. Drop in, drop out multiplayer. It's obviously you've got down here. Even the UI on this looks a lot like Destiny, where you've got like what looks like a left bumper special, a right bumper special, and a both bumper special type of thing.
You can go underwater.
Yep, you can fly around underwater. Looks great, and all this looks great. It looks really good. It's just I just don't, unless there's a good reason. This is a thing where I understand before the person who's writing a comment right now that game companies don't want to make single player experiences anymore. They wanted a multiplayer online experience, and this is not a new thing. It's been like that for a long time. It's just that BioWare was a game that made some of my favorite single-player RPG experiences, and it kind of sucks that now they're just riding Destiny's coattails trying to be another Halo game.
Yeah.
So, given that, I'll try it. Who knows? Maybe it'll be good. Maybe, maybe it'll be the one. It'll be the one that I'm like, you know what? This is the one. I'm really, really into this one. It feels better. It plays better, and you guys have a bunch of great quests, and it's not repetitive. But I'm not seeing anything right this second that's just blowing my socks out the back of my head.
Outside of graphically how it looks.
Yeah, outside of graphics. But, I mean, it's modern gaming, man. We know, everybody...
I would still say a little bit even more so than that. It still looks good.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else to add to that,
No,
John?
that's pretty much where I'm at with it. I was like, oh, this looks cool. This looks cool. Oh, it plays like Destiny. I'm kind of not caring anymore.
It actually seems slower than Destiny.
Yeah. Well, when I say plays like Destiny, I just mean like persistent world that you can play with other people.
Right.
And, I don't know. I just kind of, I'm like, I'm not interested in that. So unless like you said, they come out and go like, no, this game is, there is a story mode to it, and you're playing the world. Like, you don't have to have your friends in the game. That's just something that can happen.
I don't know. There's a whole part of this that we're watching right now where the person narrating is talking about, getting I want this loot drop. I want this loot drop. And it's like, fuck, man, that's MMO talk going. That's like, if your primary goal in a video game is getting good loot as opposed to like, I have to stop fucking Gargamel from taking over Middle Earth, right? Like, if the reason you're playing a game is because you need fat loot and not because there's like a good story involved, then chances are you've probably lost me. Now, that's not to say that everybody's different. Everybody's different things that they like, but
yeah. And I mean, at the very end of it, it kind of looks like they get a squad together to go on a raid.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. They're going on a raid.
Yeah. Well, they specifically say like, oh, we're going to need more people for this one, and then they jump into a lightning storm. And again, whole thing real pretty. All of it's real nice and pretty. It all looks really fantastic. Now, I don't know if this is actually gameplay or if this is some E3 lying bullshit, but
could totally be.
And that was the Microsoft conference. So, what do you think, John? Did they win E3? Did Microsoft win E3?
I thought everybody won E3.
Everybody's a winner.
I thought that Microsoft actually made some really good things. They showed a lot of indie games. They showed that they're trying to get a lot of games that are popular on PC onto a console.
Sure.
They announced their new console, which in theory, I don't have any problems with their console. Like, I think it's great that it's there. There's a lot of functions of it that I do like. I feel like they dropped the ball on the price. But having said that, I feel like they, even regardless of whether it's permanent exclusivity with PC and Xbox, or exclusivity in that it's going to be on Xbox for a little bit and then eventually it'll be on the PS4 or some other console. That's that I don't care about. There is some exclusivity of some kind coming to it, which is something that you and I have said that they need. Do they probably need a little bit more? Probably. It could.
I think they need some. They need stuff like Uncharted. They need stuff that is like you can only get it on an Xbox One, not on Windows 10. That's the other thing, is that I keep coming back to that as like why don't you just buy a Windows 10 PC? Because then you get access to all the shit that's on Steam as well as all these games that we're talking about, right? So why not just spend the extra money on a gaming PC? It's probably going to look a little bit better on there anyway. So, but even putting that aside, I was talking, as I bring this up all the time, and I'm talking to Amanda, it's just like there's just so much shit on the PS4 that I can't get on other platforms. Like I was talking to Amanda on last week's podcast. The dumb booby anime games, they're on the PlayStation 4 and sometimes on the PC. But I don't think I can get Senran. Can I get Senran Kagura on the Xbox One?
I don't think so.
But like those little NIS bullshit JRPGs that come out,
I don't think so.
Like there's just things. There's just all these things. Yakuza, and Neo, and things like there's just stuff that I can't get, and that I feel like every week there's one other thing that's on the PS4 that might be on the PC, but is certainly not on the Xbox One. And while I appreciate all the things that I saw, I feel like they need some big flashy wow stuff that you can only get on the Xbox One. That's like a big gamer draw. They need the equivalent of Red Dead Redemption 2 has 6 months of console exclusivity on the Xbox One when it comes out. That'll never happen, but that's what I feel they need. They need something that's so gargantuan that gamers just can't help themselves. They're just going to be fucking chomping at the bit to get to.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like it was a good conference. I feel like it was a very good conference. I feel like there were some negatives. I feel like there were a lot of positives. I feel like, as we'll talk about when we eventually talk about Sony and stuff like that, I feel like they did some stuff in here that I wish Sony had done.
Sure.
They talk about some stuff that Sony didn't talk about.
Yeah.
They talked about some stuff, and vice versa. I feel like Sony did some stuff that I wished Microsoft had done.
Yep.
And I feel like the biggest thing I can say, and this is sadly a prediction of all, I feel like all of the conferences were good, but none of them had that "oh my fucking god" moment. None of them had that.
I agree. None of them had a Death Stranding moment.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for out of my E3 is the moment where they fucking trot out like Hideo Kojima on stage and he goes, "Take a look at my new game, bitch," or like they show the trailer for Bloodborne 2 years ago. And I know I'm just listing off Sony stuff, but you remember in the Xbox One conference when they announced Crackdown? Everybody's just like, "Oh, fuck, Crackdown? I didn't see that coming." Or the one where they first showed Master Chief walking in the desert for the...
I think that was the same one.
Halo one. Yeah, which was like... Or that same one had the Phantom Dust trailer where it was just like, what the fuck is it? What the fuck is Phantom Dust? That looks cool, And
then the people who knew what Phantom Dust were like, "Oh, shit, Phantom Dust!"
Right.
But... I feel like there was no, in any of the conferences, let alone just Microsoft or even EA, I feel like there was no like holy shit moment. It was all just, here's a bunch of stuff that you probably already know about. We're gonna show, if we didn't show you anything about it previously, we're gonna show you more of it.
Yeah.
If we showed you a lot of it, we're gonna give you a release date.
Yeah.
And if we're or we're gonna it's stuff that we kind of already knew about.
Or there's only no matter what it is, no matter what this is, maybe it's another thing, no matter how they dress it up, there's only so excited I can get for a new Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
No matter how you dress it up, I can tell that Anthem's going to be a Destiny game, and I'm there's only so excited I can get for that. Like, the stuff that I've been most excited for in both of these were things like that Echo Knight or the guitar playing guy or Way Out. Yeah, or new stuff that's doing stuff that I haven't ever seen before. The montage of explosions for Crackdown 3 is not as exciting as 2 years ago, and they showed people knocking down an entire building that collapsed into a bunch of girders, right? So that's what I feel is missing. And with EA, EA's hit or miss, right? I feel like if EA had trotted out even a teaser for that Amy Hennig Star Wars game, the
that
Visceral
would have been
that's what I'm talking about. Is that would have been a thing where I was just like, oh shit, you know? Or if Microsoft had said, oh, also here's a new Jet Grind Radio Future game or something, you know, something. Or hey, in addition to this new Xbox backwards compatibility, I know you guys like that Xbox version of Crimson Skies. I'm going to show you the new Crimson Skies game, and then we get a fucking brand new.
I was legitimately expecting the next thing going. And if you thought that's cool, here's
right.
I was honestly expecting that.
Yeah, or even something like we know that Miyazaki's working on something for From Software. If it was something brand new to come out of a place, or that what's that bullshit that what's his name? Ken Levine has been working on for 2 years.
Oh God, I don't know.
Comes out and shows 5 seconds worth of like it just needed more of that big wow, kind of factor.
Yeah.
And it was just like
something to come out of left field. Because I feel like even the stuff that they did come out of left field with, like the backwards compatibility for the Xbox, because no one was really asking for it.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that people went, if it happens, it'd be cool, but I'm not, I don't need it.
I feel like that kind of announcement would be if they had come out on stage and said, we've seen how much you like the Xbox 360 games. Well, guess what? Every Xbox 360 game is now on the store, and they're all free forever. Yeah. Like that kind of thing, where you all just go, what the oh shit, I gotta plug in my Xbox, right? Like, where you just fall out of your chair and go, what the fuck?
But having said that, like I said, while there was no wow moment, specifically speaking with the Microsoft, it wasn't a bad conference. Like every announcement was like, oh, that's cool, I'll play that. Oh, that's cool, I'll play that. Oh, okay, that's cool, I'll play that.
And as you said, this is a spoiler alert, but nobody had that moment. Nobody had that falling out of your chair moment this E3. More so than even last E3 or the year before. Like, I feel like a lot of people were ready to I feel like I might even have been slightly let down by Sony, because Sony's last year was like, here's fucking God of War, and
Shenmue 2 or Shenmue 3,
Days Gone, and here's a bunch of shit you ain't never seen before. Here's Resident Evil 7's got a full VR campaign, and like blah 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 blah. Right, so they were like really throwing stuff out there, and then this year it was kind of like, okay, well, we already knew about some of that stuff, and the same was true of Microsoft, and the same was largely true of EA. And if we didn't know about it, then it was, here's a new Need for Speed, here's a new this game. I mean, you're right. You can write a lot of stuff out for just being seen.
And I know there are probably some people going, but John, this thing that happened in Sony or this thing that happened in Nintendo, those were total holy shit moments, and we'll get to those later. Yeah. Trust us, guys. We'll explain why I don't feel like I'll explain why I don't feel like those moments are like
also,
holy shit moments.
I have been doing this for long enough that I fell asleep and didn't wake up in time to put the Nintendo conference on this morning.
Oh, I noticed, because I watched it while I was at work, and
so I haven't actually watched that yet. I caught like the last 5 minutes of it. Who knows? Maybe I'll put that on tonight and just fall out of my chair. So, but I gotta say is that out of the Ubisoft and Bethesda and Sony, I don't feel like there was anything that was just like Bethesda 2 years ago. Here's a trailer for Fallout 4. Oh, by the way, it comes out in 4 months, right? Yeah. Like that was a falling out of your chair moment. And I just
or they're also coming out on the Microsoft stage the next day going, oh, by the way, if you buy this on Xbox, you get Fallout 3 for free, backwards compatible.
Yeah. So but anyway, we'll be back to talk about the next about those in the next one, which is going to be what, Bethesda and
Devolver Digital and PC.
Yeah, Bethesda, Devolver, Bethesda, PC, and then we'll
talk a little bit about Devolver.
It's like 30 minutes.
You know what? I take it back. Actually, I take it back. Devolver Digital won. Devolver Digital won E3.
Okay.
They are the winners of E3, and we'll explain why next week.
Not next week.
Next episode.
Yeah. When I start putting these out, hopefully they'll be day after day after day.
Yeah. So tomorrow.
Yeah. Because join us back here tomorrow.
You'll understand.
Yep. And we'll see you then.
The dark is older than the light. At last a day dawned, and we rose with this first light. But that light was a betrayal, only fleeting.